It's the Kenmore East Bulldogs taking on the Kenmore West Blue Devils from Crosby Field in Kenmore, New York. And I'm Walter John Sears, along with my good friend and colleague to my left, Frank Stewart. And Frank, we have the last game on Adelphia Cable for the 1993 season, our last regular season game of high school football, in a traditional rivalry. These two fine teams, Ken West winning the last 8 games and leading this series, 17 wins, 14 losses, and a couple of ties.
Exactly right. Ken West has had a very strong program under their head coach, but Ken East is looking for the big upset here this afternoon.
Well, the Kenmore East Bulldogs are 3 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties coming in, and they have a chance for a playoff position if Williamsville South would lose, and they would win. And in order for them to win, they've got to get a big game out of one of the best running backs in Western New York, in Sean Campus, as you see there. And that shot of Campus, a preseason all-Western New York candidate, and Campus has not disappointed anyone. Campus does a lot well, but one thing he does better than most backs is his ability to read his blocks. Campus has accounted for more than half of East's offensive production yardage this year. In fact, Campus has rushed for 614 yards and 3 touchdowns this season, Frank. On 86 carries, he's an outstanding running back, and he's the main threat for Kenmore East.
No doubt about it, the Kenmore West team will have their hands full worrying about Sean Campus this afternoon. Well, what does Kenmore West do? The Blue Devils present a much more balanced attack. They have 3 very fine running backs in their backfield, and they start their formations with Kevin McGavero, who is an outstanding rusher for 456 yards, on 89 carries thus far this year. And right behind him is Chuck Root. Root, number 45, has rushed for 421 yards on those 89 carries. A very balanced attack, as you can see, with both running backs getting an equal amount of carries. The Blue Devils will occasionally also hand off to their very versatile player out of the backfield, and that is Craig Dana, who lines up as a wide receiver. He also plays a backup quarterback position, and he leads the Blue Devils in scoring. He has accounted for 10 of the Kenmore West Blue Devil touchdowns thus far this year. How about those keys for the game?
Well, the keys for this game for the visiting Kenmore East Bulldogs to win this game, number 1, they have to stop the balanced running game. Stop West's balanced running game, and that will not be easy, as Frank alluded, that they have 3 outstanding running backs. Maintain composure, number 2 for Kenmore East. The Bulldogs have played well when they haven't lost their composure, taking themselves out of some games with bad penalties and dumb plays. And number 3, of course, Campus, the player we talked about, has to have a big ball game, both receiving the football and especially running the football. He has to control the game for Kenmore East to win.
Right, and for Kenmore West, obviously a very big part of their defensive strategy will be to stop Sean Campus. Again, on offense, utilize what they've done well all year, and that is spread the ball around amongst the players that can do it on offense. And of course, one of the bigger keys to any football game is win the up front battles, the big battles with the lines, the offense and the defense. The big guys up front have to do their job.
Well, last year it was a blowout. In fact, the last 8 years have all belonged to Kenmore West in this series, Frank, as they've taken over the series lead, as we mentioned, 17-14 and 2 ties. Last year it was 46-21, Kenmore West winning easily and winning the last 8, so a lot on the line in this game.
No doubt about it, but the sky is blue here. The Blue Devils are being introduced. The field is perfect. Pat Oliver's team has done a great job in getting this ground all set for this game, and I think we're going to have a good one.
And New York, the Kenmore East Bulldogs coming in with a record of 3 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties with playoff aspirations still hopeful. It's Karnowski, their starting center. Deichler, the left guard. DeLuca is the right guard. Roslin, the right tackle, and Gerbeck on the offensive line. Curcio is the starting quarterback. Campus and Bing, 2 outstanding running backs. Price, Wilcox, and Idziak are the receivers. On defense, the defensive line, Scott, Smith, Roslin, and Fanera. Up front, Campus, Bing, Frumuska, and Wilcox are your 4 linebackers as they play a 4-4. Idzak, Price, and Curcio, your defensive secondary. Kenmore West with McAdoo, Kelly, Stark, Bartek, and Malecki on the offensive line. Sardinia is the quarterback. McGavero and Root are the 2 running backs. Dana, Shotwell, and Kropolinski are the receivers. And on defense, Root, McAdoo, Bartek, and Kropolowski. And we will pick up the rest after this opening kickoff. And it is going to be Campus starting off at his 15-yard line. And Campus breaking tackles, gets across the 30 and out over the 35-yard line to the 36-yard line. So an outstanding return, and just finishing off that defensive alignment for Kenmore West. Stark, McGavero, Cameron, and Howells are your linebackers. Dana, Gagliardi, and Shotwell in the defensive secondary. And our first play of the game is Kenmore East, Frank, in good field position from the 36. Will run through the officials after our first play of the game. Justin Curcio, the starting quarterback. And a sunshiny day, and Campus is leading the way for Bill Bing on a running play, and Bing is out near the 38-yard line.
Two big running backs for the Kenmore East team in the backfield. The starters, Bill Bing at 6'2", 195. Sean Campus, 6'1", 180. Campus a little better runner with the game-breaking ability, and a short pickup of a couple of yards there for Bill Bing, but that will be their strategy, we believe. They will try and grind it out against a tough Kenmore West defense.
The rest of that lineup, McGovero, Cameron, Howells, and Stark are your defensive linebackers. Dana and Gagliardi are your cornerbacks. And here's a pass, and it is caught. I don't know if that ball was deflected. It is going to be ruled incomplete.
Well, there's a flag down on the play.
As we have flags down that Dave Price came up with that football, but apparently not. It is interference on the defense.
And I'll tell you what, I think the official maybe made an error here as the ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and that's what Kenmore West is claiming, and that the ball there should be no interference, and they're going to pick up the flag, wave it off. And that's a good call. Mike Benkowski, the official on the far side of the field, saw the contact as the ball came to the receiver, but he had not realized that the ball had been tipped by a defensive lineman on the play. So it'll bring up a third down. So Curcio's first pass goes incomplete. He's 32 of 64 on the season. 437 yards, 4 TDs, and suffering 3 interceptions. A third down play early in this contest.
And his big receiver, Wilcox, with 2 touchdowns, Dave Price with 1 touchdown, Iziak has 2 touchdowns. They go to Bing again with Campus leading, and he stood up at the 39-yard line. The Kenmore West Blue Devil defense rises to the occasion. Kropodowski, who plays both ways, one of the players in on the tackle, and we have our first punt of the ball game. The Kenmore East will bring their punting unit on with punter Scott Wilcox. Bill Bing will be the center, and back to return the punt will be Lance Shotwell and Craig Dana. Shotwell is number 7. And there's a good look at Steve Wilcox, Frank, 6'2", 190-pound senior, and a pretty big guy there for a punter. Scott Wilcox, that is. And Scott almost had it blocked by McGovero. They will let the ball bounce, and it will be down at the 36-yard line thereabouts. And Scott Wilcox did a good job to get that away, and McGovero just missed blocking that.
You bet your boots he did, as he was a left-handed booter and getting the ball high into the air. 26-yard punt. Not much distance on it as it bounced back upfield, but he sure did get a lot of height on it. And the return man did not even opt to try and catch the ball. They elected to let it fall, and it worked out to their advantage.
Well, it's turned out to be a beautiful afternoon. It was a little on the cool side, Frank, when we were on the field for the pregame interview, standing around for a few minutes. But up here in the booth, and the sun shining right on us, it's pretty warm. Dana,
Absolutely.
Not as warm as it's warmer here than out on the field, but very pleasant afternoon for football. Kenmore West, and here's McGovero sweeping right, looking for some running room. Doesn't have much. Splits a crease and goes out near the 40-yard line for a gain of 3 yards. Kevin McGovero, a senior, he's had a big year with 6 touchdowns.
Yes, he has been one of their outstanding players. We talked about their balanced rushing attack, and they like to keep the ball on the ground. Their quarterback, Joe Sardina, has completed 32 of 62 passes for 392 yards and 3 TDs. They are the Blue Devils of Kenmore West, and this is their home field, Crosby Field.
And they have
Kenmore, New York.
The Blue Devil mascot there. There's Craig Dana, as you mentioned, his good height and weight, 5'11", 185, a senior. Second down and 7, and it's Dana. He's a very explosive runner, and Dana is going to go all the way for a touchdown. Craig Dana, who will take some snaps at quarterback. He's a running quarterback instead of Joe Sardinia. Goes 60 yards. And nobody laid a hand on him after he got past the line of scrimmage.
Well, he is a game-breaking type back, and you'll see it here as you see the wide open hole. It was an excellent call there as they over-pursued to the left side of the formation on defense. And Dana found a lane, and he just used his speed to outrush or outrace the defender to the end zone. A great call and an early touchdown in this first quarter.
And Dan Felsner in to try the extra point. It's a high snap. The kick is up, and the kick is good. Dan Filsinger, that is Dan Filsinger. Joe Malecki put down the high snap, and Filsinger was able to convert the extra point.
Well, good job there done by the offensive line, and a good play call by Jerry Tutwiler as he set the offensive tone with a play to the right side wide, and then they have the quarterback keep it. I don't even believe it was an option. I think it was a keeper all the way as you see him come around the left side and then off to the races. He got a good block from the wide receiver, who did not allow the cornerback to pinch back in on the play. And it's a race to the end zone, and he outruns Wilcox and Campus to the end zone.
Well, that's the 11th touchdown of the 93 football season for Greg Dana. They're all-purpose receiver quarterback who runs a lot out of that quarterback formation. He had 285 yards coming into this game on 50 carries.
Well, that play just took, or that drive just took 2 plays to go 64 yards with the score.
And the kickoff.
Short kick taken, Brian Licata.
It's taken.
Licata from the 29 up near the 34.
35-yard line. Number 86.
Ball is spotted at the 34.
Brian Licata.
31-yard kick, 5-yard return.
So again, Kenmore East in good field position. As far as what this game means, obviously it's a big crosstown rivalry. Kenmore East hasn't beaten Kenmore West back in almost 9 seasons now. 8 straight years. That's a lot of straight losses in a rivalry.
We sure saw a lot of points being scored last year at Kenmore East Stadium over at Parker Field.
46-21 the final score, and a running play to Campus, their big ball carrier.
John Campus brought down by Nagavero.
37 or 38 yard line.
Gain to the 38. Pick up a 4.
So 4 yards.
Second down.
Sean Campus with his first carry of the afternoon.
Sean Campus is their bread and butter player. He has rushed for 614 yards on 88 attempts going into this ball game and has scored 3 touchdowns. And if they cannot get Sean Campus any running room, this could be a long game and a long evening of football for Kenmore East. And a running play, and it's Bing, and he has the first down. He's nearly to midfield. He's knocked down near the 48-yard line, and they are using Sean Campus apparently as a decoy and running Bing a lot more than he normally runs. Because Bing had carried 35 times coming into this game, and Campus 88 times.
Second winner in the red ribbon drawing, number 4.
Following the center and the guards up the middle of the field, and Bing used his great athletic ability to control himself and the football and get 11 yards, enough for the first down of the game.
And it's a running play, and here comes Bing, and Bing almost breaks this. He does break it for a huge gainer, and it's to the 35-yard line of Kenmore West, and he was within 1 tackler of going all the way. Bill Bing, where did he come from?
Well, he's a big guy, good size, at 6'2", 195. Just look at how he bursts through the hole, switches the ball from right hand to left hand, which is a little bit unusual. You won't see players do that often on the high school level, but he did, and did it very well to prevent anybody from coming along to strip it away.
Bing has already carried 4 times in this football game for 31 yards. He did not carry that much during the regular season. 35 carries going into this final game. He scored a couple of touchdowns, 5 overall, but 2 rushing. And here comes Campus. And Campus has a first down to the 20. To the 16-yard line goes Campus, and they are just shredding the Kenmore West defensive lineman right now, running the football.
It's just amazing what holes are opening up in the center of the defense for Kenmore West. Kenmore West perhaps thinking they would be running outside. They're running just off the guards on either side there, and then allowing the runners to utilize their instincts to take the ball upfield. Now Campus broke it to the outside, and there you see some of the advantage of 2 great running backs in the backfield.
And it was Lance Shotwell who made the tackle. The ball was spotted at the 17. It's a dive play to Bing, who is tripped up after a gain of 3 yards. He's inside the 15 down to the 14-yard line.
Gain is to the 16.
Kropodlowski, Jason Kropodlowski on the stop, a senior 6'1", 170-pounder, and he knocked Bing off his feet. Bing just held to a 1-yard pickup on the play as there was a hole there, but he was tripped up at the line.
Yeah, I thought he had gotten over the 15, but they spotted it outside the 15, so just a gain of a yard or a yard and a half on the play. That play will be whistled down before it gets underway. Now let's talk about what this game means. Kenmore East, believe it or not, as they have a legal procedure on them, are down in this game 7-0. They are 3 wins, 2 losses, and 2 ties. With a victory in this game, because Williamsville East and Williamsville North tied yesterday at 6-6, if Williamsville South would lose to Maryville, that would put Ken East in the playoffs if they win. Now, Kenmore West had a record of 4-2-1 on the field. They lost 2 games to forfeitures, so they are 3-4, and that really took the bite out of their season. They would have been able to make the playoffs had those forfeitures not taken place.
Well, that's unfortunately just one of those series of events that takes place when an eligible player, the grades and all that had come into play, and they were lost the games because of their use of an ineligible player. Look at this
Curcio throws, and it's just off the outstretched hands of Dave Price, who might have gotten a fingertip on it. That ball overthrown slightly.
I thought that Price was open, and had the ball been just put into a position where he might have been able to come down with it, he would have had a sure catch, at least for the first down, and possibly a run to the end zone for the touchdown. There's your Ken East record for 1993, 102 points scored and 68 points against. But this is the game right there. This is the game of their season right now. There you see the replay, and just too far out as the receiver was open.
Justin Curcio off the mark on that pass. 3rd down and 14 from the 21-yard line now. Curcio back to pass. The rush is on. He throws. He's got his man. It's caught. A good move inside, and down to the 7-yard line is Scott Wilcox, and he is close to the first down yardage.
Depends on the official spot of the ball. They were 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and they say he does have just enough for the first down. A well-thrown ball by Curcio, getting his first completion of the day. And the big receiver, Scott Wilcox, makes the play right there when he stops, jukes, and goes back up the other way and gets that additional 5 yards with that run.
Well, that little move there by Scott Wilcox against Lance Shotwell enabled Kenmore East to keep this drive alive and pick up the first down, as Rod Gagliardi ended up making the stop. Here's Bing, and he's in for the touchdown. Bill Bing. And that was, I'll tell you, that was one terrific drive. When you give up an early touchdown like that, Frank, and it's demoralizing, and you come right back and stick it right down the field.
Well, Bing has done a lot of work on this drive. He was held to 4 yards into the first 2 carries of the game, and since this drive started, he has carried for an additional 34 yards on 4 carries. So Bill Bing is doing the job from the offensive backfield position, and again, running right behind the center and the guards. They're doing a great job, those up front players.
And we mentioned that Bing had only carried the ball 35 times coming into this game, but he certainly carried a lot more now. That's another high snap on this end, and this kick is up. And this kick is also good. Kenmore East place kicker puts it through. Mike Raschel on the extra point. Justin Curcio was the holder who did a good job, and Bill Bing put it down, and that ties this ball game at 7-7.
Almost duplicate drives. The first drive for Kenmore West to score in 2 plays goes 64 yards. Back the other way, Kenmore East uses a lot more plays to go 66 yards, and Bing gets the touchdown on the play. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plays for the score for Kenmore East.
Well, it'd be a fitting way for Kenmore East to get into the playoffs by beating their arch rival, who they haven't beaten 9 years. And with that victory, enabling them to make the playoffs if Williamsville South would be upset by Maryville. But Maryville's still a pretty dangerous team. They've had somewhat of a down season, but capable of beating the Williamsville South Billies. You'll just have to check your scores and see what happens.
Closest game in most recent years was West defeating East by a score of 77-6 in 1988. Otherwise, it's been primarily a West-dominated series.
Rachel's kick is short. It's taken at the 20, and look at this. All the way up to the 45, 46 yard line, and flags are down.
It's either a face mask on the tackle or a clip play, and it may very well turn out to be the face mask. Let's wait for the official's call.
We got a face mask. Right.
The player on the return, as it is a face mask call on Kenmore East, was Craig Dana. Somehow Dana, the player you want to kick away from, ended up getting the short kick.
Well, look at the big hole again, and he's just has a nose for the right place to go to, and you see that one of the players reached up and grabbed him and spun him around a little bit by the helmet, and that's using the face mask illegally, and they'll mark the penalty 15 yards upfield. So this drive start will be all the way deep into Ken East territory at the Ken East 36-yard line.
Now, we might see a lot of points in this contest the way it started out. 5:50 to go in the first quarter, and already we've had 14 points. Each team has scored a touchdown and a conversion. It's a 7-all tie. It is Craig Dana and not Joe Sardinia lining up for this snap from center at quarterback. Apparently they'll rotate them both. Sardinia is the passing quarterback. And here's a rush to the left side for Chuck Root, the tailback, and Chuck Root with a small gain on the play. A gain of nearly 3 yards. Official timeout now.
Injured player on the field for Ken East, and he will have to be attended to as the team trainers come from across the field. A 3-yard pickup there for Chuck Root, his first carry of the game. Again, a very balanced offensive attack for Kenmore West. That has been their trademark this year. And their ability to use all of those players and get good production out of each of the players out of the backfield, McGavro, Root, and Dana, has been very effective. Unfortunately, they had to forfeit a couple of games due to a clerical mistake, and that's just the way it goes sometimes.
That looks like it's Scott Wilcox, number 85, and they have their names on the back too, which is nice. You can identify the players a little quicker that way.
He's holding his right arm or right wrist, as you said, and hopefully he'll be able to return. He's their tight end, and also on the defensive side of the ball, he's getting a lot of playing time at the right defensive end position.
Well, he's the player that caught that first down pass down to the 6-yard line, kept that drive alive, and then Bing scored a play later. We have not seen that much defense in this game so far. Craig Dana, the quarterback, he stays in there. He's got a man in motion. And it's a handoff to McGavero, who's hit after a short gain of a couple. It will be 3rd and 5. Joe Sardinia, Frank, is their senior passing quarterback for Kenmore West for the Blue Devils, number 11. We haven't seen him at all. We've seen Dana. Jerry Tutwiler, the head coach, when Kenmore West had to forfeit their games, several parents took action.
Our quarterback's father, decided to take this as far as he could. So we went and got the decision from the NFL Executive Committee, and then what we did is we approached Mr. Kristich and Dr. Helfrich, superintendent of schools. They had a meeting last week, I believe on Thursday, and decided that they would go to the section, since we play Section 6 football.
And Craig Dana picks up a first down on 3rd down and 5. He keeps it himself. He's a very effective runner, Frank.
Yes, he is. He got the 5 yards needed for the first down, pushing it down to the 30 or the 25-yard line. And the clock moving along at a good pace here in this first quarter. We've had 2 early touchdowns in the game. And Ken East needs to settle in and play some defense and force a possible field goal try here. They don't want to fall behind on touchdown after touchdown here.
1st and 10, the ball at the 25, and here's Dana again. They almost had him in the backfield. Now he's stacked up after a short gain on the play. Dana did good to get a yard on that play.
Yes, and exactly right. I think that's just about the same play that they ran for the touchdown. He was expecting the defense to bite on the same play. They did not. And a little helmet problem for one of the players out in the field there for Kenmore West, and you see him coming right in front of us, and you wonder why these young men like to play football. Well, they like the physical contact out there, delivering and receiving the hits out there sometimes. It's a test of strength and test of will.
See, Kenmore East has brought Robert Brown Jr. in the game, number 78. He's 6'3" and 321. That's right, a junior. And Matt Crocker, number 76, who is 6 foot and 270 pounds. A crazy formation, a pass from Sardinia to Dana, and a short gain on that quick pop pass.
Good work by number 34 on the defense, and stepping in there, Stephen Louth, anticipating where the ball might go. They're looking to try a flanker screen to Dana, with the quarterback stepping in there and doing a job now and getting the ball away. Sardina, gain of 2 yards though on Sardina's first pass completion. There you see it. And number 34 really did a good job fighting off the block and getting a shoulder pad into Dana for a very short pickup on the play.
And Dana's the type of player you have to tackle immediately. Sardina now will play quarterback for this snap as he did the last down. He's their passing quarterback, Joe Sardina. Is back to pass. He's got Dana wide open, and Dana bobbles it.
Oh, boy!
It's intercepted. The ball is picked off, and you cannot fault the quarterback there. I believe that's Curcio who comes up with the interception, the opposing quarterback.
And credit Dana with a touchdown-saving tackle on the interception. He's a little off balance as he's trying to tip the ball up and make the reception. Curcio comes up and gets the loose ball right out of the air, and he's thinking, man, I got a long way to run now, and there was nobody who would have been able to catch him.
And also credit Dana with providing the interception. This ball should have been caught at least a couple of times.
See it bounce around, and you see Curcio stepping in, but a good tackle by Dana, and that pins Kenmore East way back at their end of the field.
But that's not what they really wanted. Kenmore East, and here's a running play, and the running back is Campus.
Just 3 yards there for Sean Campus.
Campus.
3 carries and 25 yards for Sean Campus.
Well, they certainly have shown they could run the football, Kenmore East. They have a lot to play for besides this rivalry both teams do, but the win really out of the sails, Frank, out of Kenmore West because of that forfeiture situation.
Well, it's going to be frustrating, no doubt about it. As Coach Tutwiler mentioned, parents concerned about it. That's an encroachment penalty.
That will be 5 yards on the defensive team if that's the way it goes, and that appears to be the way the Kenmore East players think it's going.
It is 5 yards, their first penalty of the afternoon.
5-yard penalty.
You have to be impressed with Kenmore East, the Bulldogs, after falling behind early 7-0, the way they've been able to come back. Tie this game at 7-7. It looked like they were going to be scored on again.
There's your
Second
officials,
down,
Ron
2.
McKinney, the referee, the umpire, Len Kozabucki, the head linesman is Mike Benkowski, and Larry Michael is the field judge. This is Bing again. Look at this guy
Bill
run.
Bing.
Look at Bing churn for the first down yardage and then dive for an extra yard.
Brought down near the
A little bit of
35.
extra effort near the 35-yard line before he's under tackle.
He is one tough and strong running back. 45 yards and 7 carries in
Great
this
gain
game
on the
already,
stop.
and averaging
First and
6.5 yards in the backfield so far this year. And he's
Pick up
not
of
their
7
feature
on the
back,
play.
actually. Sean Campus, number 3, is the feature back.
Well, they've been giving them a steady diet of Bill Bing, 7 carries already. Way over his average, 35 carries coming into this game in 7 games. It's only 5 carries per game. And a fake to Bing, and they give it to Campus. A good 1-2 punch, and Campus picks up 5 yards to the 40.
Well, this is just slice and dice. I mean, the offensive line is doing such a good job, and I'll tell you what, if I'm the coach for Kenmore East, Bob Voss, I change no strategy here. This is as safe a strategy as you can get. Give it to the running backs right behind the interior line, and the quarterback doesn't have to reach out and do anything fancy with the ball. The linemen drive straight ahead and put their blocks on the opposition, and the running back just finds the right hole to go through, and they're getting 5 yards of crack.
Justin Curcio, the quarterback for Ken East, has shown a pretty good arm, however. And if they stack up too close to that line of scrimmage, he might burn him with a long pass. It's a running play to Bing, and they've got him this time, but Bing wiggles out a couple yards out of that play.
63, Derek Cameron in on the stop, a senior, 6'2", 185. Got him around the thigh and slid down to the knee there and made sure he wasn't going to go away or get away from him and pick up any additional yardage.
Third down and 3.
Third down and 3.
Will the holders of numbers 201 and 573 please report
Well, when
to
you
the
have 2
concession
strong
stand and
teams,
pick up your prize.
the fans and the stands usually fill up rather rapidly. But in this game here, the team's struggling along. Kenmore East with a good contingent across the way. Kenmore, there's a fumble.
Curcio now a
Bill Bing.
handoff, and Bill Bing is near the sticks. It's very close to the first down yardage.
Well, it depends on the spot of the ball because he needs to get out to the 45-yard line.
Cameron
Where the officials
on
put
the
it down,
stop.
they say yes, first down.
First down.
Boy, you're right, that
Ball spotted at the
offensive line.
45.
Gary Krasinski is the center. Michael DeLuca, the right guard. Mike Roslin, the right tackle. Bob Daschler, the left guard, and Scott Gerbeck, the left tackle. They're not an overly big line. Gerbeck's 223 pounds and 6'2". All of the other 4 players, except for Roslin, are under 200 pounds. Roslin's 200 pounds, but they're making some huge holes. Gertzio's pass caught. Wilcox, first down. Finally dragged down by Shotwell, but not until he got inside the 35 to the 34-yard line of Penn West.
Lance Shotwell.
21 yards on the reception for Wilcox. That's the second time that they've been able to find him. Curcio gets his second completion of the afternoon. And boy, credit to Scott Wilcox coming back in. He had that injured wrist on an earlier tackle, and look at this run. He's going to get spun around, and his legs get wrapped up underneath the tackler that time. And we thought he might be hurt, but Justin Curcio, 2 for 4 now, 5'11", 165-pound senior.
And the first quarter rapidly coming to an end. Only 8 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And a handoff, and that will be the final play of the first quarter as Campus is stopped after a yard gain.
And number 54, Jacob Bardak in on the stop, 5'9", 185. So they hold him on the first carry to just about half a yard, but that's going to bring us to the close of this first quarter.
And we had fireworks here at Crosby Field in Kenmore, New York, as Ken West scored first. Kenmore East then marched right down the field and matched them. At the end of 1 quarter of play, the score is Kenmore East 7 and Kenmore West 7.
Kenmore West, now they're looking to put points up.
Curcio's got his man, the tight end, David Idziak, and he has 9 catches, now 10 on the year.
And Curcio starting to heat it up. That's 3 in a row for him. And a 6-yard gain, it looks like, for David Idzik on the first catch for the afternoon for him. 2 good tight ends, and Wilcox and Idzik. In fact, both players have good size. Idzik at 6'3", 190, and Wilcox is 6'2", 190.
Now Wilcox grew a little bit. He's a 6'4" player.
I was reading it off the roster.
Idzek 6'4". Okay, we'll correct that. There's a running play to Bing, and Bing is stopped right near the line of scrimmage. In fact, he lost a little yardage on the play. It would be 4th down.
That was a 3rd down carry, looking for the first down. Now 4th down, and no gain, it looks like, the way they finally spot his forward progress.
Loss of a yard back to the 29.
Now they'll probably go for it in this situation at the 29-yard line.
I would think so. And again, Curcio has hit his last 3 passes, 2 to Idzik, or 2 to Wilcox, and 1 to Idzik.
Kenmore East is going to call timeout to talk about this. Hey, coaching staff in the shorts. Such a nice day.
Jerry Brown and Charles Dingboom are the assistants for Bob Voss and for Jerry Tutwiler. The assistants are Ken Sherry, Rich Harris, Matt Chimera, Larry Schmidt, Mike Chrisman, Paul Damian, Lou Reuter, and Bob Howell. What a coaching staff. A lot of guys there.
Bob Voss now in his 6th season, the head coach.
If you take a look at, we get a shot maybe later in the game of the Blue Devils helmets. They have a red ribbon on the back of their helmets, and it's part of the Red Ribbon Week here in Kenmore, October 23rd through the 31st, and it's the red ribbons in support of the war against drugs. As you look at Campus, we'll talk about him.
Sean Campus, the running back Sean Campus, does a lot of things, but his biggest asset is reading his blocks. He reads them very well.
I just feel I just use my blocks, and I've got a good supporting cast with my linemen and my running backs and my receivers, so I give them a lot of credit.
And Frank, that was Sean Campus explaining how he reads the blocks very well. And you were talking about the red ribbon. It's against alcohol and drug use.
Yeah, there is a week-long program here in Kenmore, and the players are in full support. 4th down play.
And the quarterback throws. It's incomplete. The ball will go over on downs as Curcio could not connect on that 4th down play. And 5 for the first down. So they moved the football, but did not move it enough to score. And Kenmore West takes over on downs.
And Kenmore West will start from their own 29-yard line. They put together a decent drive after a great kickoff return last time. Here you see the Red Ribbons and the Kenmore West players. Full support of the Red Ribbon Week program here in Kenmore. And a worthwhile cause, we agree entirely.
Well, no doubt. A lot of youngsters could be swayed as we've temporarily lost our monitor, possibly a power shortage. Oh, we're back. Okay. From the 30-yard line, a first down play, and the quarterback is Dana. And Dana is stopped for a yard loss on the play. Craig Dana is the running quarterback. Joe Sardina is the passing quarterback for Kenmore West. And Craig Dana now has 11 touchdowns this season. He's had a great year. That's a lot of touchdowns at the high school level in only his 8th game. A lot of youngsters should get involved in that throughout Western New York. Very impressionable at a young age, and they don't want to get involved in drugs. It can only bring you to a tragic end or a terrible life. There's a running play.
It's Dana.
And Dana again. He runs, he's more like, he's 5'11" and 180, but he runs like a halfback the way he moves around, but he's got power like a fullback.
He is a very good athlete, obviously, to be able to play the very number of positions that he plays here. Wide receiver, lines up as a flanker, runs as a quarterback sometimes, and a halfback, various positions available, and he plays just about all the skill positions you can get in the field.
Well, another big 3rd down play. This time it's 3rd down and 4, full house backfield for Dana, the quarterback. And Dana hands off, and they're not going to get there. No, they're not going to get there. It's Chris Gallivan. Gallivan, a sophomore. He's got good size, too. He's 185 pounds. Gallivan, a sophomore, did not get the necessary yardage.
4th down and about a yard, and they look like they want to kick the ball away.
And they're out there very quickly to punt it away. The punter is Tony Boncourt, and Boncourt's punt is a beauty. High and Campus, fair catch, fumbles it, falls on it. His knees touch the ground near the 26-yard line. That was a nice-looking punt by Boncourt, Tony Boncourt.
Yes, it was. Got it up very high into the air. Not an awful lot of height on the ball or distance on the ball, but good height. 5'11", 185-pound junior. And the key to it was that he put it up so high that Campus really wasn't able to settle under it like a baseball player might.
Well, that's one of the biggest improvements, too, in the last 10, 15 years we've been doing the games. As you look at Campus on the sidelines,
well, what's the improvement?
Outstanding player. The punting game has improved dramatically the last 10 years we've been doing these games, and the place kicking and the kickoffs.
I would agree. Exactly right. In fact,
besides the bigger players and the stronger players, almost every game that we've been doing, the specialty teams, the punters have been terrific. And remember, these kids are only 16, 17, 18 years old.
That's exactly right. Well, one difference so far in this game that we can point to, if it's a 7-7 tie, but one thing that favors one team over the other is the ability of Kenmore East to run up the middle of the field like we're seeing here with Campus, and also their ability to hit some key passes.
Well, they just hit a key running play as Campus ripped off 15 yards and picks up a first down. And Sean Campus and Bill Bing have really shredded this secondary and the defensive line.
Kenmore East is playing a very, very strong first half of the football. They have 8 first downs to just 1 for Kenmore West.
Well, they've showed they can run the football, and they've been able to pass effectively at times. Well, Kenmore West has pretty much just been able to run the football. 8:50 remaining in the first half.
I guess I agree with you.
And you do. We think alike. Might scare you. Curcio, the I formation. He's been effective when he's passed it. He hands off, and it's a straight dive play to Bill Bing.
Got Bill Bing.
And Bill Bing is going to be pushed way back. He did not appreciate McGavro and teammates pushing him back after he was stopped.
Yep, McGavro went on the stop along with Jacob Bardick, and Bardick had him low and McGavro had him up high, and they really made sure of the hit. There's no gain on the forward progress. Look at this, guys. They just kind of turn him over and push him back.
McGavro slamming him down to the ground. Mark McIndoe, the right tackle, a senior at 6'2", 220, made the initial hit along with McGavro, and McGavro forced him back. All in all, it was a gain of a yard. Here comes Justin Curcio to pass throws, and a good defensive play by Dana as that ball was about to be grabbed by Dave Price.
Well thrown ball, and Dana anticipated the pass and stepped in front at the last moment, shoulder pad to shoulder pad with the wide receiver, and was able to at least make enough contact and perhaps even come close to an interception on the play.
Well, 3rd down and 9, and
just look at the replay, and you see it right there as he had the better chance at the reception, or interception, I should say.
this game starting off a high-scoring game has settled down now as both defenses have picked up the tempo and played well with a few stops in a row.
Big blitz.
Rush is on. Oh,
what
this
a
is
play,
set
what a
up.
play.
Here's Campus. He's going to pick up the first down and pick up more than the first down as he's inside the 45-yard line.
What a great call as they allowed the defense to come in, and they do get a penalty after the play, roughing the quarterback on top of it.
That's going to be an additional
my gosh.
15 yards if they mark off a big one. The ball is at the 44-yard line.
That's a 15-yard reception.
But they caught him in a blitz, and a perfect play call for the blitz. And I'll tell you, I think that Kenmore West defended it pretty well to hold it to that type of gain. It could have went all the way.
Well, let's see how the officials sort things out. Ron McKinney was talking to the captain out there, Bill Bing. And they're declining the penalty, and they will take the play.
They had an option to either take the penalty or take the gain. They took the gain.
Let's look at it again. Well-designed play. And I thought he had a lot more room to go. One guy came up and got a hand on him right there, and that's the only reason he went down. If that hand doesn't get the ankle, I think he's got a possible touchdown.
I have to take Al Durazio, the referee from the NT Tonawanda's game advice a little bit more and just wait until they decipher these penalties before jumping in ahead of time and assuming, because high school rules are much different than a lot of the pro games that we watch on television. There is Campus, and he's got running room. He makes a terrific cut. He's still on his feet, and he picks up way more than the first down yards. He's inside the 30. Boy, he's a good-looking running back there. Pretty shifty for a big guy. He's 180 pounds.
Got a 21-yard pickup here for Sean Campus. Look at that elusiveness as he's just trying to put himself, a big guy, lower and lower to the ground, so he's tougher to hit. And it worked effectively for him. 67 yards and 7 carries for Sean Campus, and they are shredding the Ken West defense on the ground, just shredding them.
At the 23-yard line. Remember now, Kenmore West on the field, they were 4-2-1, a very difficult team to beat this year. Kenmore East has lost 8 straight games to Kenmore West. They're playing well right now. Here comes Campus. A beautiful move inside as he was going to go outside. He cut it back inside, and he was able to penetrate now. At the 20-yard line.
Down to the 17, it looks like, so another 6 yards on that carry, and they are over 100 yards now as a team. As Sean Campus does such a good job as he picks his blocks and follows them well and picks the right hole to go to, and he does a good job getting additional yardage. Second and looks like 4 for the first down, but more importantly, they're chewing up the clock here in this first half and maybe going to get some points out of it as well.
Second down and 4 yards. A fake to Campus. Wilcox is wide open. Touchdown.
What a great call.
Beautiful play. Justin Curcio put it right on the money, and Scott Wilcox has his 3rd touchdown pass this season. And they set that up with the run, Frank. They baited him and baited him with the run, and then they threw the pass play, and a touchdown developed.
Well, 17 yards, and it's a beautiful pass as Wilcox had single coverage to that side. A good call as he faked in and then took the pass route to the outside corner. The ball was pretty well thrown by Justin Curcio. And with 6:28 to go, they take the lead.
And here's the try for the extra point. Mike Rachel's kick is up, a line drive kick,
good.
and it's good. And another
For
example of the extra
14,
points
Blue
in the
Devils
field goal kicking.
7.
We said it has improved so much at the high school level.
See the replay of it. Caps a 74-yard drive. Half a dozen or so plays on the drive, and they start from their own 26-yard line, and they put points on the board. And this Kenmore East team is playing some tough football here this afternoon.
Well,
a very nice offensive flow.
And a lot to play for. They could secure a playoff spot if they win and Williamsville South loses to Maryville in their last game. They could break their 8-game losing streak against Kenmore West. At one time, Kenmore East was dominating this series just a short 9 years ago, but now the series lead has swung to Kenmore West. 17 wins, 14 losses, and 2 ties by virtue of Ken West's 8 straight victories. And again, you're talking about the extra point kicks as Ken East leads 14-7. Hannah Albon, the kicker that we had from Tonawanda, did miss the entire season.
Amazing.
9 for 9.
That's some great kicking.
There's a place kicker for Lackawanna. His name escapes me, but the kid had 2 games in which he was 7 for 7 on extra points. And that's 14 for 14. And here, 3 for 3. Here's the kickoff. Shotwell has it go through his hands, picks it up at the 13, up to the 15 to the 20. He's going to be finally dragged down out near the 25-yard line.
Nice return there anyway, as he was able to make a pretty good recovery. And they will spot the ball at the 25-yard line with Kenmore West starting their offensive attack. Well, you know, Ken East, I've totaled up their yardage. They've got almost 200 yards in offense in this first half, and there's still maybe another drive available to them if their defense holds here. And that was a great pass to the wide receiver there, Scott Wilcox, who has caught 3 passes for 53 yards and 2 first downs and 1 touchdown.
And he's an outstanding player. Curcio has been very effective. As you see Curcio on the sidelines, the Kenmore West head man.
Jerry Tutwiler screaming to his defense. 5 of 9 now, or screaming to his offense rather. And he wants a timeout to talk things over, as he's not happy with the play selection perhaps that they were going to start this drive with. Justin Curcio, 5 completions and 9 attempts for 74 yards and a touchdown.
Alcohol-related accident.
You know, talking about Jerry Tutwiler, Frank, he's been at Kenmore West now, or coaching for 25 years, but 13 now as the head coach at Ken West. It's a long tenure, 25 years. And the Kenmore West Blue Devils there with Dalen at the quarterback spot. We've had some long drives in this game.
Yes, we have. This last one for Ken East. They started at their own 26. They take 7 plays to go 74 yards. They use 2 minutes and 44 seconds off the clock. A lot of running plays in there and a very nice screen pass for 15, 16 yards to Sean Campus. And then Scott Wilcox comes up with a nice reception as well for the touchdown.
And the momentum of this game, folks, has really shifted to Kenmore East. After Ken West opened it up and scored early in the game to lead 7-0, Kenmore East has been more of the aggressor in the game, and they now lead 14-7. But here's a big play developing for Kenmore West, and a first down run for Chuck Root.
Root with a good carry. Dana in at the quarterback position to start the drive. From the 25-yard line, he gets out over the 35, it looks like, at least, and there's an injured player out there. That's Bing getting, well, he's not even able to get to his feet for Kenmore East, so there'll be a slight delay here. 12 yards on the carry there for Kevin McGavero, and the second first down of the game. There's Kenmore West's season record, 4-2-1, and that's games played on the field. Of course, they forfeited 2 games, so their official record is 3-4. Those games taken away from them. Bill Bing, that's a serious injury if he's not able to get up and play. He had difficulty putting some weight on his leg, and that's a very big concern for the Kenmore East side.
Yeah, I saw that. And if it is a leg injury, well, he's getting up. Let's see what type of pressure he does put on his leg. He's limping.
Might be a sprain.
In an alcohol accident during the
That looks like the type of injury he might be able to work out of in this game or hit the kinks out. He's limping pretty badly there, Bill Bing, but fortunately it doesn't look like a serious knee injury when it just collapses on you. 6'1", 195-pound senior. And it was Bing who really set the tone for this game for Campus to have the big runs, because Bing started running very well early in this contest. They couldn't key on Campus, and then when they started running Campus, he had wide openings. And here is Dana. Dana picks up nearly 8 yards on first down. Very, very slippery type run.
He's at a 60-yard touchdown run and 5 other carries for 20 yards now. And you see that he's very elusive, very quick feet, puts his team in good position here in the closing moments of the first half of action, 5:22 or so to go on the clock. They have plenty of time to get back into this game and maybe try and tie it up.
Well, the thing with Dana, too, is he has power to break tackles, which is unusual for such a shifty runner.
Oh,
and there's a mix-up, and Dana decides to keep it himself.
He should have the
and
first
Dana
down.
has the first down. I'll tell you, if we take a look at that again, he was shoveling the ball into the running back's stomach and then decided, I'll keep it.
We'll see it perfectly here as he'll come along the line of scrimmage, and he thinks, oh, I better give it to him. No, I better get it out of there because he was not going to get the first down. The running back, I believe it was Root, he was trying to give the ball to. And he pulled it right back away from his own running back and decided to go his own way on it and get the first down.
Well, probably if he hands that off to Chuck Root, it's going to be a fumble.
Or not a first down.
Now, they weren't on the same page on the handoff, but Dana kept it, picked up the first down. Now he hands it off.
That is, looks like McGavero.
And a quick hitter for
Tough
Keith
hitting.
McGavero. And McGavero, number 28, is a senior, 195 pounds. He picks up nearly 3 yards.
Campus in on the stop along with Stephen Louth, and one big guy out there is Robert Brown Jr. He is a junior. And Robert goes 6'3" and 321 pounds. Kevin McGavro's stats there you see on your screen, but Robert Brown Jr. is a force on the defensive front. Tough to run around that guy.
Well, tough to run around him. He's 321. And then Matt Crocker's playing right next to him, a junior, 270 pounds.
Look at this play.
And there's a first down play for Chuck Root. He's finally brought down inside the 40 near the 38-yard line.
10 yards there for Chuck Root. And another first down.
There's a good look at Robert Brown Jr. And then if you pan over, Matt Crocker, number 76. Brown is 321 and Crocker is 270. That is some big guys at the high school level, at any level.
I can't imagine playing against a guy that size. I cannot imagine.
Squash you. He'd hurt you.
He could hurt me.
Now let's see if Brown could be an impact player here on these runs. They run up the middle, and Brown did make the stop there. And there is number 76, who was not involved in the play, Matt Crocker, but Brown in on that stop, as Root was the ball carrier.
Looks like they get about 3 yards there for Chuck Root. 3 carries for 16 yards. And this is a nice drive for Kenmore West. I mean, coming right back after a touchdown against you, you establish the attack. They're running very well to the inside and to the outside. They're getting some good holes opened up by the offensive line, and they have not had to put their quarterback in a tough position having to throw the ball. I mean, they're getting good yardage on the first down.
Well, Brown and Crocker brought in this game off the bench to try and stop that inside run. They've done a pretty good job here along with the rest of the Kenmore East defense. And McGavero,
He's got a lot of yardage.
Up the middle, and he veers to the left side, and he's about 2 yards shy of the first down as he hits the 30-yard line.
Yeah, he's very close, but not close enough, like you say. Better than a yard to go for the first down, so we'll call it 2. And McGavero, 5 carries, 28 yards, and there's the clock ticking down. Everything's in Kenmore West's favor now. They'd like to go in the locker room with the game all tied up, wipe the slate clean, and say, let's come back out and play a strong second half. But you got to score here.
That's right, and they've got a long way to go. They're at the 30-yard line. That's still a long ways away, but not this way. Look at this run, and Chuck Root barreling inside the 15 down to the 14-yard line. Chuck Root.
29 down to the 13. That's 16 yards for Chuck Root. And a good carry and a reasonable tackle. I mean, Campus has to come up on the play and make the stop. If he doesn't make the stop, it's a touchdown.
Well, I'll tell you, that's the type of play, too. Chuck Root, 421 yards on 89 carries, the tailback in this game.
So
coming
adding
into
8
this
yards
game,
per carry here.
32 yards on 4 carries. First down play from the 14-yard line. And it's a straight dive play. And again, good yardage as Dana decides to keep the ball himself. It looked like he was going to hand it off, but he kept it himself.
He faked the handoff and followed the man that he had faked the handoff to right through the hole.
Yeah,
and I'll give him about 3 yards there for Craig Dana.
How many quarterbacks do you see do that type of run?
Not many.
It's not in too many playbooks in Western New York. And you've got to run it inside the tackles.
There you see the replay of it, and he follows that hole and is able to get positive yardage out of the play.
Well, here's where Kenmore East, they have to stiffen up on defense. It's 14-7 Ken East. Ken West is knocking at the door.
That's Root.
And again, it's Root, and Root is getting down near the first down yardage.
Boy, he sure is close to it. I think he probably has it.
The way they're running this football, they picked up another first down. Chuck Root. The way they're running this football, how are you going to keep them out of the end zone, Frank?
Well, I don't think there's any way. I think they've just found a rhythm and a method to be able to get that ball in between the tackles and find a way into the end zone. Now Kenmore East calls the timeout, and they maybe should have called the timeout a few plays ago.
What
come
Kenmore
up with some
East
other strategy.
is going to have to do, Frank, is tackle the football because they're making too much penetration on their runs. Hope for a big turnover. And that's probably what Jerry Tutwiler is going to go out and tell his defense. Tackle the football.
We've only had one turnover in the game. That came on Kenmore West with Sardina throwing an interception on a tipped ball.
And it wasn't his fault either. That
should have been
that
caught.
Interception.
Intended for Craig Dana. Craig couldn't come up with it, and it was intercepted by Curcio. And Curcio's had a very nice afternoon passing for Ken East. 5 completions and 9 attempts for 74 yards and 1 touchdown.
Bob Voss, the Kenmore East coach, Bob Voss was an assistant for Jerry Tutwiler, and they have a unique coaching relationship. Let's hear what Coach Ross had to say about that.
Well, Jerry and I have been very close for over 20 years. Playing against each other, coaching against each other, but also knowing each other. Families get along together. We've watched each other's families grow up, children grow up, and so it's a very close relationship.
That is Coach Bob Voss, the Kenmore East head coach. And, you know, looking at this, it's weird. Coach Rob Voss, in his 6th year, has never coached a victory against his arch rivals. Kenmore West is 6 years here. They've got an 8-game losing streak, so he's come up empty every time he's coached in this big game.
It's a pretty good game then. A little bit more interest in it. And a timeout as the officials step in and set the defense. Just checking for equipment, I'm sure, amongst the players. It's for safety reasons. Now they're set to go 1st and goal.
Pro formation. Dana keeps it. Dana slices inside, and he scores. Didn't look like much, but Dana was able to get it into the end zone. Once he gets past that initial line of scrimmage, he's extremely quick. He's got a burst of speed, and he goes in for the touchdown. And Dana now 12 touchdowns this year, one of the leading scorers in Western New York.
Craig Dana taking the ball in, and that caps a 75-yard scoring drive. And the point after, critical right here.
Dan Filsinger. Joe Malecki will snap it. Sardina puts it down. The kick was partially deflected, and it is good. Boy, that one was partially deflected and still found its way through the uprights, and that's a big kick for Dan Filsinger to tie this game at 14-14. Well, it wasn't pretty, but he got the job done.
Got the job done. Dana using his athletic ability again to find the spot, find the hole, and make sure he's able to get his body through it and get the yardage needed for the touchdown. Well, 75-yard scoring drive, and they come up with the points with 1:27 to go here in this second quarter. And this game's going to go into the locker room, I would guess, all tied up.
It's got a good chance to, but there's still 1:27 on the clock, and it's hard to say if it did go in tied at halftime, who has the advantage at halftime? Really, neither team.
And I look out onto the return team out there for Kenmore East, and I see number 4, Bill Bing, back deep to return along with Wilcox and Sean Campus. So Bill Bing at the right-hand portion of your screen there is come back in after being injured on the defensive series.
Good to see that. Apparently he was able to walk that off. And the kickoff man, Dan Felsinger, ready to kick it away. Well, this is Felsinger's left-footed kick, and it's out to Campus at the 14-yard line. He's got a wall in front of him. He cuts it back against the grain, and Campus slices to the 30-yard line. I thought he might have something cooking there, but they defended that well. Maybe if he stayed right.
Well, so many times a return man will get anxious and not follow the blockers out in front of him. It was an obvious return right with 5 players out in front of Campus. They go up there to put the blocks on, and he gets a little nervous because there's a lot more bodies in his way than he would like. He looks for a gap, sees a little bit to the left, and unfortunately runs into the pursuit that was trailing the play.
I believe that was Joe Malecki who was the kickoff man, and in on the stop for Kenmore West on that kickoff was Derek Cameron. But that's a pretty good return. With 1:19 to go, they start at their own 30. We're tied at 14-14. Ken East and Ken West, and they're going to pass. Curcio is hit as he throws, and he was creamed there by Root.
Chuck Root came in on the blind side. Curcio was looking upfield, intending a pass to either the tight end Idzik or to number 2 coming out of the field there, Dave Price, and you see the hit. Boy, I'm not sure who he was intending it for as it looks back at it, but just as he was releasing, he got popped in the back by Chuck Root, so that'll stop the clock on the incomplete pass.
It's got to be pretty tough to be a quarterback and take those type of hits. 2nd and 10 from their own 30-yard line, get blindsided like that. Root, perfect defensive charge as Root came on blitzing. And here is Bing fighting through that injury, picking up 4 yards to the 34-yard line, and we're less than a minute remaining in the first half with 58 seconds and the clock running.
And Ken West decides to use one of their 2 timeouts that are remaining to talk it over and look for a third down stand perhaps on this play and maybe get the chance to get the football back.
Well, that's interesting. Last game of the season, they want to play as much football as possible. If they can stop them on this third down play, they figure they can rush, maybe block a punt or get a good return.
1 minute, even to play in the half.
Kenmore West has allowed 102 points against them and 14 more on top of that in this first half of football action.
Well,
their last game of the year.
That's not too bad when you consider they've played 7 games.
Kind of nice to see the seniors being introduced here for Kenmore West on their home field as well, as the parents were invited to come out and greet the players. It's been a long and comfortable career for playing football for a lot of these seniors.
See a minute to go. Justin Curcio will go from the I formation. Now they need to get up to the 40-yard line. Flags before that play starts, and the
Might be a
whistles will
false
stop
start,
play.
but again, we're speculating. It's hard not to do that.
And it was a false start. Well, that's an easy one.
Was it?
When it comes to decision time, Al Durazio, the referee, said, what I did notice is you guys should maybe just wait a tad and let the officials do their
I think he was
thing.
being polite and telling us to knock it off.
Third down.
Oh, no, he was very kind, and he said that they enjoyed the broadcast. And that was, as you mentioned, a false start. Now there's 58 seconds to go in the first half.
That shouldn't be a time ticked off. Apparently this clock keeper got a little anxious there.
And a handoff, and it goes to Campus.
Campus.
Fumble, yes.
Fumbles the football, you're right. It's loose, and it's recovered there by Mark McIndoe, the right tackle, a senior player.
Now they have a great chance to perhaps take the lead here with the ball spotted at the 33-yard line of Ken East, and Campus just lost the handle on the hit there, and the ball got away from him, and he was pinned to the ground by Kropodlowski along with number 63, Derek Cameron. They wouldn't let him get up and go get the loose ball.
Well, it was Kropodlowski who forced the fumble. Cameron pinning the runner down, and the ball then recovered by Mark McIndoe.
And the Blue Devils want a timeout on the change of possession, 53 seconds on the clock, and I think that Kenmore West has used up their last timeout with that call.
Well, there's the head coach for Kenmore West, Jerry Tutwiler, and this would be, there is J.J. Tutwiler, the water boy. That's the coach's son.
Tough job. I wonder what he gets paid for that.
I'm sure it's worth a few dollars from Dad.
Absolutely. If not, he can call me. I'll help him.
34-yard line, I formation. This would be a crushing blow to Kenmore East if Ken West would score before halftime. Passing quarterback in, and a shot to Shotwell from Joe Sardina, who is right on the money near the first down yardage.
At the 22-yard line.
Looks like he's got just about enough. Yes, he does. 11 yards. He needed 10 for the first down. So Ken West has had a better second quarter offensively than they had in the first quarter.
Seconds remain to play.
Chuck Fermuska made that stop.
Shotwell gets out of bounds to stop the clock with, 47 seconds to go. So they may get a shot to even try a field goal out of this.
And it's something for a lot of the teams out there watching, preparing in the playoffs. Hey, a minute to go, use that timeout, force that third down play, and they forced the fumble and got the ball back. Sardinia's pass incomplete over the outstretched hands of the tight end, Kropodlowski. Jason went up for it, just could not bring it down.
Sardina with his first incompletion. He's 2 for 3 or 2 for 4 to his teammates, and he's had 1 intercepted. And you see he put it out there, intending it for number 88 or 86, Kropodlowski. And I think they had a little communication problem because Kropodlowski was turning in just a little bit, slowing down, looking to check up on the play, and the quarterback had thrown it, intending to be like a fly pattern, a straight run up the field.
It's got to be difficult for the receivers, too, with 2 different quarterbacks. Although we mentioned Joe Sardinia, the senior, is the passing quarterback, and he's in now. Dana is the running quarterback. Sardinia over the middle, tip, and incomplete. That was almost intercepted. David Izek had a great chance for an interception.
Yes, it was. It was just too long of a play developing into the center of the field, and the quarterback kind of locked his eyes on him, and Izek, the deep safety, had a good chance to read those eyes, and watch as he just comes up right there. I mean, he had an interception had the ball been thrown on the line more to the receiver instead of over their heads.
Third down now, and 10 from the 23-yard line. 35 seconds to go in the half. Joe Sardina will remain the quarterback. He goes straight back to pass. The rush is on. They set up a screen to McGavero, and McGavero is knocked out of bounds short of the first down, but that will stop the clock with 29 seconds to go and put them in field goal range if they decide to try a field goal.
Well, the one tough thing about a quarterback who rolls out to his right a little bit is that in this situation, the ball was spotted to the short side of the field. He had very little bit of room to go with that screen pass, and you see he just ran out of real estate to the sideline. About a 7-yard gain there on the reception.
And the field goal unit has come on. Dan Felsinger will attempt a 32-yard field goal. Felsinger to kick it off. Sardina will put it down. And the kick is up, and the kick is good. It made it over the crossbar, and that has got to be a killer for Kenmore East, as that ball just barely went over the crossbar, and he hooked it in from the right hash mark. That was a difficult field goal because the ball was spotted way to the right of the right hash mark, and the kicker, Dan Felsinger, able to convert.
33 yards on the kick, and he got just enough of it to boot it through and give his team a nice comeback here in the second quarter with 2 late scores to regain the lead. Very nice job. So they score 7 points to start the game on a long run by Craig Dana, and then they allow 2 touchdowns against and come back with a touchdown run again by Craig Dana, who's had a pretty good day so far. And the last play here on the field goal for Felsinger results in the lead.
Joe Malecki to kick it off, the left-footed kicker. He's their kickoff man. Felsinger does the extra points, and it's a short kick picked up by Phil Sickles, and Sickles then is pushed back after returning near the 33-yard line. 11 seconds to go. Time for a couple more plays if Kenmore East chooses to throw.
Greg Stark and Jeff Butler.
Phil Pickles, that's going to football name.
First and 10, Kenmore East at their own 33.
From the 33-yard line.
Oh boy, it's
intercepted! Oh man, what a killer this is! Touchdown!
A killer interception, a killer interception.
Ryan Licata. I believe that's Jason Kropodowski, excuse me. Jason Kropodowski intercepts in the flat and takes it in for the touchdown.
Look at the interception. He steps right in front of the intended receiver on the screen pass, takes it 34 yards for the score. And a 34-yard interception return. This game is broken wide open in favor of Kenmore West.
That's an unbelievable turnaround. The clock has run out. That return man, by the way, was Phil Stickles. The extra point upcoming. And this kick is up. And the kick is good by Dan Felsinger. So Kropodowski's interception, Frank, on the last play of the first half has completely swung this game.
The momentum is shifted.
Shifted way over to the home team, Kenmore West. So the score at halftime in a high-scoring game, Kenmore West 24 and Kenmore East 14. Last few seconds of the first half, Frank and folks, has spelled doom, it looks like, for the Kenmore East Bulldogs unless they come back strong in the second half. They lost 10 points in the last 15 seconds of the first half. It looked like we were going to go in, Frank, at 14-14. Instead, it's a big lead of 10 points for Ken West.
You just never know in high school football how things will turn or when they'll turn, but they surely turned very bad for the Kenmore East team in the late going of that first half. You see the statistics for the first half. Actually, Ken East did a great job handling the football. 10 first downs to 7 for Ken West. Better passing yards, a little bit less on the rushing side of things, but still a good total of 204 yards for the half. They suffered a turnover, and the turnover was huge as their pass was intercepted in the, or actually they had 2 turnovers, pardon me, my mistake. They had 2 turnovers, a fumble and an interception on the last play of the first half on top of that one. So the Ken East has 2, Ken West with 1. Penalties 3 for 25 against Kenmore East. time of possession just about dead even. Let's look at some of the scoring here as Craig Dana on the very first drive of the day for Kenmore West goes 60 yards on the second play from scrimmage down the left sideline. He'll take it in and score a 60-yard scoring play for Craig Dana, his first touchdown of the afternoon, and that came with a scoring drive of 64 yards in 2 plays, 9:06 remaining in the first quarter. But coming right back is Bill Bing as he bursts up the middle of the field, carries it in on a short carry of 6 yards. That play covers 6 yards out of the 66 yards on the drive. 8-play drive, that comes at 6:01 remaining. Look at this throw from Justin Curcio, a pass into the right corner of the end zone to Scott Wilcox. That play covers 15 yards. And the pass play to Wilcox for 17 yards caps a 74-yard drive. All the point after touchdowns have been good through the first half of plays so far. And then right back comes Craig Dana to take it in from 2 yards out to tie the score in the late going. Let's look at the field goal. It'll get up and over from 33 yards out, and that's Filsinger as he gives his team a late lead in the first half with 1:27 remaining on the clock. And then we'll see this last play of the first half. A toss to the right flat, a screen pass attempted for Bill Bing. It's intercepted by Kropodlowski. Number 86 for Ken West carries it in. No time remaining as he crosses the plane of the end zone, and they kick the extra point to take and build a huge 24-14 lead. What a turn of events. Ken East had fought hard and had taken the lead 14-7 after falling behind 7-0. And coming back like a strong force was Kenmore West Blue Devils.
Well, what a strange series of events to score the final 10 points. So let's just go back to that 1 minute mark or thereabouts, and when on third down, if they could have picked up a first down, Kenmore East, they were going to try to score. They were at their own 30, and Kenmore West used that timeout. Stopped the clock with about a minute to go, then stopped them on third down, forced them to kick the football. Ended up actually with a fumble then. 2 turnovers in the last seconds. Ended up with a fumble recovery. Got the field goal from Filsinger. And then, with only 10 seconds to go, we had thought that maybe they'd try a pass, but really there was no sense to trying that pass in the flat. And Justin Curcio was picked off by Kropodlowski, who took it in for the touchdown, untouched, as that was an errant pass. 2 turnovers, 10 points, and a problem now for Ken East. The receiver's knees touched the ground on the kickoff.
At the 16-yard line.
That was number 33
that's
for
Howells.
Kenmore West.
Chris Howells,
you're correct.
A senior, 6 foot, 180-pounder.
Well, Kenmore East definitely, they have to really pick up the pace here from the start of this third quarter. First, they have to stop Kenmore West.
Look at the frustration there as number 33 Howells realizes what he had done. He went down to make sure, like a baseball player, that his body was in front of the ball. And unfortunately, if your knees are on the turf or one knee is on the turf as you have possession of the ball, you are down in high school football, and you would not even be able to be touched because the officials would whistle the play down, and that's exactly what happened.
Craig Dana will take the first snap at quarterback. He and Joe Sardina have both played quarterback for Kenmore West. And Dana on the quarterback option keeps it himself, and he's shouldered out of bounds there by David Price. A short gain on the play. The clock stops, which Kenmore East is going to need a lot of that in the second half. 11:45 to go in the third quarter. Ken East does not want that clock to run.
About a 5-yard pickup there for Craig Dana, now up to 10 carries and 93 yards. And he had come into the game with a lesser yards per carry than the 2 other running backs in the backfield, with Kevin McGavero rushing 89 times for 456 yards, Chuck Root 89 times for 421 yards, but Craig Dana 50 carries only on the season so far, but in this game he's proving to be a dominant factor.
Well, he gained almost 5 yards on that carry. Here's a handoff and a first down for McGavero. Now he breaks it. 40, 45, midfield, 48-yard line of Kenmore East. As Kevin McGavero, a senior, 5'11", 195-pound back, broke it upfield for the large gain. And there is McGavero. But we're listing him 5'10" and 190. He is a senior.
Yavro, a tough running back, as you'll see him take it to the outside in a burst of speed as he breaks that one ankle tackle try there by Curcio, turns it upfield, and a big boost from behind as he was hit from behind on the play.
And a running play, and Dana keeps it himself, and it's really strange because even when Dana's stopped, he always picks up 4, 5, 6, 7 yards. That play he got 7. He's just very difficult to keep to a minimum gain.
And we had
actually 6 on that play.
Unofficially just under 100 yards on the afternoon for Craig Dana, and 2 touchdowns to his credit. so far today.
Drinking and driving is the #1 killer.
5'11", 185-pound senior. Craig Dana is certainly a tremendous force running the football from that quarterback spot.
And very difficult to come back from 3 scores down in any game. And you see Dana 11 carries, 99 yards, 2 touchdowns. We just talked about that a moment ago. But if Kenmore West is able to score here, it's going to be very, very, very almost impossible for the Kent East Bulldogs to come back.
He was listed as the starting split end for this game, but he's played primarily quarterback. That's Kevin McGavero, the fullback, for a gain of 2. Craig Dana will either line up at the split end spot or at the quarterback spot. That's the 2 positions he plays for Kenmore West on offense. Kevin McGavero starting to pile up some yardage in this game. 3rd down and 3, and a critical stop play on 3rd and 3 for Kenmore East and their defensive team. They can't afford to fall back by any more than they're already down 10 points. 1 man in the backfield. Dana will keep it himself. He'll get outside, pick up the first down as he is slammed to the ground by David Price on a solid tackle.
Did the job, though. He was able to get the first down.
And he's shaken up a little bit.
About 7 yards, and he really landed hard on his hip. Just watch the completion of this play. He's going to come right up and over, and you see him land actually on the back, and that probably had the wind knocked out of him. That's probably the main reason he's come out of the game. It's about 7 yards there. He's over 100 yards now in the game. Another first down, but just watch the outcome of the hit there as he lands on his right shoulder, his right hip, and that's got to hurt. And they put in Sardina
he's replaced
immediately.
by Joe Sardina. Joe Sardina on a handoff and a good stick there on Chuck Root.
Just a couple of yards there for Root. Good rushing attack here for Kenmore West today. The team has a total over 200 yards now.
And I don't think I've ever seen a game turn so fast at the end of that half. Dana is coming back on, but he doesn't look to be running at 100%.
He might be getting out there just a little bit too quick.
I don't think I've ever seen a game turn like that in the last 10 seconds so quickly. The field goal after the fumble on 3rd down by Kent East, then they get a long field goal, and then they pick up the interception. It just happened so quickly.
There you see Kenmore West. They have a very potent offensive attack, and they get some defensive help as well occasionally, as we saw in that interception to close out the first half. 186 points in the season. That's a lot of points in 7 games.
The head coaching staff of Kent Eastwood, Rob Voss, their head man, they had to be shaking their heads at halftime. How are we down 10? And they've got Dana this time for a loss. A good play by Scott Wilcox, the right end.
And they're looking for a fumble call. They won't get it. I'm not sure if Dana's is back to what he was when he left the game. He didn't seem to be running with the authority that he had been running with earlier, and Wilcox had an easy beat on him. In fact, held him to no gain on the play. You see the replay. Wilcox wraps him up, and the ball came free, but the official said he was down the turf when it popped out.
Well, there's a little gait to his walk there, Dana, so he's still banged up a little bit from that hard hit by Price, which he was flipped in midair and landed then hard to the ground. 3rd and 10. Dana's going to pass. Now, he hasn't passed in this game.
Will he pass?
That's a good question. Yes, he does pass. Wide open. McGovern has the first down. So Dana did an excellent job of biding some time there, and he came close to going over the line of scrimmage.
Boy, he just stopped himself at the very last moment. A good play, though. Works to perfection. Another first down for Kenmore West, and Dana's first passing attempt in this game, and it's completed for 17 yards. Let's look at it again. He hesitates just right there at the very last second. He spots the receiver, and you see the reception made by number 28 out of the backfield, Kevin McGavero. 17 yards, according to the officials. That's McGavero's second reception.
And McGavero runs well after he catches the football. Dana on a pitch. Here comes Root trying to get outside, and Root will be able to get outside and pick up a couple of yards.
Yeah, a lot of yards, actually, from the 15. They're going to spot him down to the 10.
A gain of 5 for Chuck Root, and
does
Chuck
a good
Root,
job.
we didn't really talk about him too much as senior. He's had an impressive game.
He's almost averaging 7 yards a carry in this game. 7 carries, 47 yards, and he'll get his hand up into the face mask of the defender as he comes up on the play, and I'm not sure if that might have been called against him. We may be able to see it again as they'll huddle up and break the line. Let's go to the replay, though. Watch Root stick the hand into the face mask of the defender, and then the defender grasps that back. And no call made on the play.
Now, they could have easily called defensive face mask penalty there. And it's a quarterback keeper, and Dana takes it himself, gets inside the 5-yard line, and is close down near the goal line.
And a first down for sure. Tremendous drive here.
That's just a quarterback draw.
8 yards there for Craig Dana. And I have a feeling that they are going to put the Kenmore East Bulldogs away on this drive. They started this one back at their own 16 on the second half opening kickoff.
Well, a touchdown right here would really make it tough for Kenmore East to come back in this game. It would put them down a minimum of 16 points as they're down by 10 now with 6:35 to go in the third quarter. See if Dana will call his own number. First and goal from the 2, he does, and he bounces off a would-be tackler down near the shadow of the goal line, and there's no signal.
Pile. Apparently
he's
the
not
official
in
said
yet.
Not yet. About a yard then, not 2.
Stop there by the center.
I'd call his number again.
I
Almost
don't know
the
if
same
Dana
play.
ran over his own player as he was tackled or ran into a tackler there, but there was contact right in the backfield. Second and goal, ball at the 1-yard line, and a good end zone shot for you there. As you see the officials and how they work and position themselves at the goal line. Dana will keep it himself. He gets in for the touchdown. However, there's a flag on the play.
And Ken East likes it. It's a procedure call.
And that
Someone
might be
moved
the
early.
big break that they need. They have to keep him out of the end zone.
Well, a field goal doesn't hurt them half as bad as a touchdown, obviously because of the points. They're going to bring the ball back to the 5.5-yard line, so they'll try it again with second down from there.
One of the better running quarterbacks, Frank, as you look at head coach Jerry Tutwiler that we've seen. Or that's the Kenmore East coach, Rob Voss. One of the better running quarterbacks that we've seen over the years is Craig Dana. Not the normal type sprint out option running quarterback who is slight. He's a pretty big guy at 180 pounds. And a running play to Root.
Oh, what a block.
Root does not get there.
Close.
He managed a couple of yards as he got down near the 3.
Well, I'll tell you what, number 7 for Kenmore West just blasted Wilcox. Lance Shotwell, 5'10", 180-pound senior on the rollout. Just watch as you see Wilcox go spinning to the turf. I don't know if he really picked it up on the play, Root carrying the ball further upfield. But Shotwell had a blindside block on Wilcox and put him on his back.
Well, they'll line Shotwell up tight as a tight end. This time he'll go out wide as a wide out. Him and Kropolowski will play the double tight end in their running attack. Dana on a handoff, and Root is in for the touchdown. And we don't want to say that's going to do it, but this is an awful big lead with 4:52 remaining in the third quarter. Ken West 30 and Kenmore East 14. And for a long time in this first half, it looked like it was going to be a Ken East night. We had Kenmore West showing a lot of strength in this game.
84-yard scoring drive. 7 minutes and 8 seconds off the clock. Wow.
84-yard.
Hilsinger in for the extra point try, and he's going to have another one. He's perfect. And the good extra point kicking continues in this game as we haven't had a miss yet. 6 for 6 on extra points, and a field goal also as you look at Chuck Root. 6 foot and 190-pound senior. And he compliments Dana and McGavero very well.
Boy, almost like an NFL score here. National Football League, I mean, in that there's a lot of points that come in bunches, and what a turnaround. Ken East trails 7-0, takes a lead 14-7, and 24 unanswered points.
Most people associate NFL with National Football League, but on the Niagara Frontier League, that Niagara Frontier League. High school, they hear NFL and they say, that's us. Well, it doesn't look good for Kenmore East. Does not look good at all.
No, it does not look good.
And if Ken West goes on and wins this game, they would finish 5-2-1 on the field, but 4-4 because of forfeitures. They would be, along with Niagara Wheatfield, two outstanding teams that won't qualify for the playoffs
Ball kicked
because
out
of
of
the
bounds.
forfeiture of games. Two teams that rightfully could have been there.
Ball kicked out of bounds here.
So they'll spot it at the 35-yard line.
And the offense wants the ball, and they want it on the field, so that's right. Kenmore East will send their offensive attack out. Now remember, they had some very, very good plays in the first half. Some excellent passing from Justin Curcio to Scott Wilcox, and some good running by Bill Bing and Sean Campus. But the defense was sliced up and not able to thwart Kenmore West. 2 turnovers in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the first half resulted in 10 points for Kenmore West. And now Ken West takes the opening drive and builds a huge 31-14 lead.
And they're in a passing mode type situation, down now 17, late in the third quarter. And he's
What
got
a
a man
pass.
out there, and
Wow.
Price has got it
What
to
a
the 30-yard line.
What a pass.
Oh, man, they're thinking if only. What? 2 turnovers late in that first half. They played such a good first half up till then. And now Price comes up with a long reception. There is a lot of time, 4:44 to go in the third quarter. But
37-yard reception for the first down to Price, his first reception of the day. And this is a great throw by Justin Curcio. I mean, he puts it right where it has to be. The defender on the play, Bob Gagliardi, just could not get there quick enough. He was fortunate to make the tackle to prevent the touchdown.
well, they need a quick score. And here's a running play to Bing, and Bing spins off tackle, still maintains his balance and picks up nearly 5 yards, down to the 25-yard line, maybe inside the 25 to the 24.
Bill Bing, after coming off the field with a injured leg, is back out on the field, appeared to be running very well there. Gets a 3-yard pickup where they finally spot the football.
They will spot it at the 25-yard line. Running plays take a long time, and they take a lot of time off that clock. 4 minutes now remaining in the third quarter. Curcio on 2nd and 7, straight back to pass, rolling right. Now throws, has a man, and it is dropped.
Well,
Good
tough catch.
contact by Shotwell as he jarred the ball free from Idzik.
And Idzik had a very, very difficult catch there. The ball was thrown behind him as he was diving back against the flow of his body momentum, and he just tried to get his hands in the position to make the reception. He was hit at the same time. See where he winds up there. He's kind of leaning back against the ball, and Shotwell's forward momentum knocked the ball away.
3rd down and 7. They definitely would go for it on 4th down if they didn't make it on this 3rd and 7, being since that they are down. Kenmore East, we're talking about 17 points. It's Ken West 31 and Ken East 14.
Looking deep.
Gonna pass, has his man. That's gonna be a 1st down to Idzik. And a nicely thrown ball by Curcio, and Idzik is down near what, the 11-yard line.
Yep, that's a 14-yard reception for Idzik. His 2nd catch of the day. Curcio has a pretty good arm, 7 for 14 now. Big 1st down, though. Look at him step in there, and he had Scott Wilcox going deep to the end zone. I thought he was thinking of taking it to the end zone, but he opted on the 3rd down instead to get the 1st down play.
And Idzik is a nice big target. A tall, rangy type receiver at the tight end spot. Here's Bing. He's going to waltz in for the touchdown. He had contact near the 1-yard line, but he was not touched till about the 1-yard line, and then he actually banged into the end zone. And hey, it's what, 31-20.
It's not over. That's what it is. It's just not over.
Not over
It's
till
not
it's
over until they say it's over. And I'm running out of room on my score sheet. It's never happened before. Look at this blast up the middle of the field for Bill Bing, coming back off that ankle injury. Tough runner, tough play. That play, that drive, took just about 1 minute and 30 seconds off the clock, so they went a long, long way in a hurry.
They're thinking 2 here. They're going to
Oh,
go
boy.
for 2 because they're down by 11 points. They're thinking win first. Curcio with Campus in front of him blocking, throws, and what a catch! Wilcox caught the ball. That's an outstanding catch.
Ooh, yeah. You like that.
That was a tremendous catch by Wilcox as that ball was sailing high and away from him. Somehow he batted the ball up in the air and then grabbed it with his other arm into his body.
That's a tremendous play. Absolutely a tremendous play, and it could be a factor later in the game.
No doubt, it's down to a 9-point game, and maybe we spoke a little bit too hastily about this being over with that 17-point lead as you look at the Kenmore East sideline, 31-22, Kenmore West in the third quarter, and really in a game where Kenmore East on paper has outplayed Ken West except for that last 10 or 15 seconds.
Absolutely, a game of breaks, and the turnovers went against them for a temporary period of time, and it cost them 10 points. And other than that, we'd have a tie ball game, actually. Or actually, Kent East would have a 1-point lead.
Now, they probably would have went for a single point, though, but we'll never know. And the kickoff by Rachel is handled by
Howell.
Kenmore West Howell, and Howell has some room here. He cuts it upfield. Good return over the 35-yard line. Howell in on the kickoff team. Took the kickoff down the left sideline.
Here we'll see the touchdown run again with Bing slanting back in. Look at the gaping hole there in the offensive line, doing a great job. And Ken West frustrated, but Bill Bing gets another touchdown. Now he has 2 scores in this game for Kenmore East, and we have a personal foul call, late hit.
They just can't do this on these kickoffs. Their kickoff team
Well,
has
I
not
got to tell
done
you,
the job.
what happened there is I think one of the officials made a call against a player coming in late on the play, but he was actually pushed from behind, and he turned around as he got up, but the official didn't see that push from the Kenmore West player. So they mark up 15 further yards against Ken East. This is good field position, especially with the ability of Kenmore West that they've shown to control the football.
Well, they start at the 49-yard line of Kenmore East. Kenmore West does, and even without the penalty, though, they're returning these kickoffs past the 35 and 40-yard line.
Boy, the ball is loose.
And Root
Hang
has
on.
the football.
Boy,
Dana was trying to take it back from Root, and Root ended up having
who's
the football.
fighting with him for the football? The big guy, Brown, I think, was in there trying to pull it out of there. You'd have to see this again. I think Brown was trying to wrestle him for the football, and Root saying, man, who was that?
321 pounds.
Let's
of
watch
Brown.
who's actually trying to get the ball. That's the big guy. See him wrestling with him, trying to pull that ball. He actually had him picked up off the ground for a second.
Well, Root's got to be a pretty strong guy to be able to keep that ball forward and keep it away from Brown.
You betcha.
But again, they pick up 5 yards on first down. Kenmore West they averaged 4.99 yards per play. Let's call it 5 in 363 plays coming into this game. Big play team. This time, they didn't get their normal 5. They got about 1 for Chuck Root. That's an impressive average, Frank, coming into this game. Ken West had run 363 plays, 1,813 yards, 4.99 per play from scrimmage.
Well, the Ken East Bulldogs need to have a defensive stand again. They did a good job coming back, but they also can't afford to trade points here as they fell behind by 10 points the late going of the first half. So they've got to have a defensive stand here somewhere.
And the I formation for Craig Dana. 3rd down play, and again they pick up the first down, and the back is breaking tackles. McGavero is inside the 25-yard line, and they just cannot stop the Blue Devils offense.
Well, from the 42, a huge carry for another Ken West first down. And let's see where they finally spot the ball. It's going to be spotted at the 23.
It looks for a moment, Frank, when he initially gets this ball, they had a chance to stop him.
Yeah, a couple of guys had chances, but they just can't seem to get them wrapped up. I mean, those legs, those feet are just constantly moving for McGavero. Root using upper body strength. McGavero maybe with a little bit more slippery ability to get away from tacklers. 5'10", 190 senior. And they are putting up a lot of yards. Jeez, 250 rushing yards I've got him for.
24-yard line, first down play for Root. He breaks tackles.
Runs
breaks
over.
another tackle, and he picks up what looks like another first down.
Well, wait a minute. David Price at 5'10", 148 just met Mr. Root. And Chuck Root delivered a significant hit on the deep back there. David Price knocked him back on his backside, and I think Price is going to remember that hit for a while. 12 yards, they say. Look at this play. Watch him run right over this guy. Boom, knocks him backwards and keeps going. Just a minor glitch in his plans of getting to the end zone.
53 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter and the clock running. And Dana comes to the line of scrimmage, first down from the 11-yard line. They're in the pro formation, and they'll go with the good thing. Root inside the 9. So a gain of a couple on the play.
Boy, how do you
for
figure
Chuck Root.
that these two teams would have such strong offenses and obviously such weakened defenses?
Well, last year it was a high-scoring game, and Ken West had most of the points, 46-21 in that victory. Just to refresh our viewers' audience memory, it's 8 straight wins for Kenmore West. So Ken East hasn't won in a long time. They've never won with Coach Voss at the helm, and I know he'd love to get a victory here against Kenmore West with Coach Voss as the head coach.
That's
And
McGavero.
McGavero inside the 5-yard line. No, he's not in, and it'll be 3rd down.
That's the end of the quarter.
And that signifies the end of the 3rd quarter, as that play took a long time before they snapped it from scrimmage. So at the end of 3 quarters, we still have a ball game, but Kenmore West is knocking on the door trying to pad their lead. And we've got a high-scoring game, an unusual amount of points here. At the end of 3 quarters, it's Ken West 31 and Kenmore East 22. From the 3-yard line, pro formation, Kenmore West leading by 9, knocking at the door. And Dana will hand it off, and every time they run that play, they are close to a first down, but it always looks like they're fumbling the football, but they're not. That's just the way they run it. McGavero handle the football. It is a first down.
Got a couple of yards out of it for McGavero. Unofficially, we have Kenmore West through 3 quarters with 310 offensive yards and Ken East with 272 offensive yards. I mean, that's a lot of yardage. You can see that the points mounting on the board. And Ken West right back at the door again. I mean, this is ridiculous how easily they're moving the football.
You know, they've got a great running game.
They're right at the doorstep, 6-inch line, it looks like.
They've done it mainly with running plays. This is an odd play from that 1-yard line, but it's going to work. And McGavero gets in for the touchdown. I'm a little surprised, Frank, that they went wide because they were inside the 1-yard line. And you're running out of space to keep score. And McGavero makes it 37-22. And as you mentioned, Kenmore East just can't trade touchdowns back and
big
forth.
hit by a player on, again, a blindside shot. The pursuit trying to chase the running back and a crackback kind of block, but above the waist. And the Ken East player injured on the play. Wilcox took one of those earlier in the game, or earlier in this half, and this one looks like Price, or I'm sorry, number 52. Let's check that out for Kenmore East. That's Antino Fanera, a 5'11", 172-pound senior. Looks like he had the wind knocked out of him on the tackle attempt. That's a 51-yard scoring drive in 8 plays.
Well, the lead at 15 at 37-22, and now they try for extra point, which is a very big one, and I'll tell you why in a moment. Just simple mathematics, Frank. They're up 15. They can block this kick and keep it at 15, 2 scores with the 2-point conversions. They'd still have a chance here in this game to win it. Filsinger can put him up by 16 if he's successful, and he hasn't missed one yet.
Uh-oh.
This kick is up, and it's good.
Sometimes you got to be lucky, and he sure was on that one. He got well underneath the ball. It was kind of a floating end-over-end kick.
Well, with a miracle comeback and 2 touchdowns, they need 2 touchdowns, 2 extra point conversions, Kenmore East, just to tie this game. So it's 38-22, Kenmore West by 16. And of course, in high school football, you can go for 1 point on the place kick or 2 points by passing it or running it in from the 3-yard line. And look at all the cheerleaders having a great time, and the Devils.
How many cheerleaders are out there?
Quite a few. The junior varsity probably out there.
Oh, they're singing that Kenmore song. Did you see this?
I was singing it.
In the program?
Singing it at halftime.
Goes, I don't sing that well.
38-22. Did they have that when you went to school?
Not really.
And there's your place kicker, who is a different kicker from the fellow Filsinger, who's done all the damage with 5 for 5 extra points and a field goal, and he scored 8 points himself, Dan Filsinger. This is Joe Malecki, who's a left-footed kicker. Wilcox, Campus, and Bing are the 3 men deep. And this will be high and a deep kick to Campus at the 11. Now, he is dangerous. He cuts it back upfield, breaks the tackle, and then is taken down on a good job by Rob Gagliardi. So Campus could not get free.
At the 22-yard line, a very short return of about 10 yards for Sean Campus. And Justin Curcio has no choice. He is going to have to throw the football. Whether he is ready to or not, I think we'll see a lot of that.
Well, they looked great on their last drive, Frank. Kenmore East, when they took it all the way down the field, and Justin Curcio had the hot hand. He's back to pass. The rush is on. He steps up in the pocket, throws, and it's intercepted. A flag is down, and this is going to be, I hate to say it too quick, but it looks like defensive interference, and that would waive off the penalty, and it is. So take that interception off the board, wipe it out, take it out, and they're still in this football game. Barely. 11:06 to go, down 16 points. $60 points in a game. We've had, games that we've had hardly any touchdowns scored this year that we broadcast. And this one we've had a lot of scoring. In fact, when you do the wrap-up, if we're going to do all the scoring, you might not get home for supper. There's the pick by Dana when
Dana's
it comes
had a
back.
good game, but they bring the ball back out to the, let's see, the line of scrimmage was a 15-yard penalty on Ken West for the interference and a Ken East first down.
And a handoff, and here comes Bing, and Bing picks up the first down, goes across midfield, and he's knocked out of bounds at the 47-yard line. And it's hard to remember the last time we've had a game with so many good running backs on the field at one time for 2 different football teams.
15-yard pickup for Bing, who's playing a whale of a game. Again, under some difficult circumstances with a bad leg, we thought, but appears to have righted himself, and he's getting near 200 yards, 82 yards now and 15 carries unofficially for Bill Bing. 2 touchdowns scored. Check that. How many touchdowns has Bing scored?
Curcio, a mix-up, and then he's hit and knocked down.
That is
for
right,
a
2
big
touchdowns
loss.
for Bill Bing.
Frank, you've got Bill Bing and Sean Campus for Kenmore East. And then you've got Kevin McGavero, Chuck Root, and Craig Dana rushing the football for Ken West. And that's 5 good running backs or rushers in a game. Normally you don't see that many on the field.
Absolutely correct. They have a very balanced attack, which we talked about. Curcio and Bing had a collision in the backfield that resulted in the 4 or 5 yard loss for Curcio as he tried to roll it out to the right side there.
He was going to hand it off to Bing, but it didn't work out. Now they set up a screen, and Campus evades a tackle. He has no blocking in front of him, and he made a great play himself. That was a screen set up left, but there were no blockers out there. The only guy out there was Bob Dashler by himself, number 57. Watch this great move by Campus.
Well, Campus really, I think the same player as the interceptor on the other play to end the first half was looking for another one here. And he went for the pick and didn't get there quite in time, had to try and make an arm tackle, couldn't do it. Well, 3rd down at about 6, so they get back about 8 yards on that reception by Sean Campus.
Well, they moved down the field quite quickly, though. They're at the 44-yard line of Kenmore West.
They were aided by an interference penalty.
And the
Wide
pass
open.
man wide open. Wilcox goes up, and is he hit? And jarred loose by Lance Shotwell of the football. That looked like a certain reception.
Well, it was thrown to the inside of the field, near where the pursuit was coming as a defender. And again, if it had been thrown to the outside, it would have been a relatively easy interception. As it was, Wilcox almost came up with it. Let's look at it again as you'll see the ball float down there and contact as the ball got to the receiver. So Shotwell has been a little bit of a force, in fact, a pretty good force. He's made some big hits at the offensive blocking and a couple of good tackles.
Well, here's the game right here. If they have any hope at all with 9:36 to go, they need to convert here on 4th down and 6 yards for a first down. Curcio back to pass, throws, and it is caught.
He's got it.
It's caught by Wilcox, and there he goes. 20, 10, they will not catch him. A touchdown.
Flag down on the play, though.
And a flag down at the 41-yard line.
2 flags down, and they are pointing at the line of scrimmage. Unknown if the play will come back or not. It would have been a 44-yard touchdown on 4th and 6.
It's a touchdown.
Oh, yeah. It must be coming after the play. Personal foul after the play.
Hey, we might look for the onside kick then, but there's still a bunch of time here. This is becoming a fun game. 9:25 to go, and I know all our fans are enjoying it as much as we are.
Well, how do you figure his concentration there? Wilcox, the ball thrown and the intended the pass coverage on the play. The player for Ken East went for the interception.
That's 2 touchdowns for Wilcox here.
Well,
That's 4 on the season.
it's just amazing. This is an amazing game. I cannot keep up with the paperwork. And you know
can
how
do it.
good I am with paperwork.
You're great at paperwork.
And they're going to force them back now because it was a dead ball foul after the touchdown was scored against the Kenmore East player.
Well, that's not good because now they're going to have to go for 2 from the 17-yard line. This is where you have to do it the old-fashioned way. You have to earn it for this 2-point conversion.
Look at that. Juggle, juggle, juggle. And off to the races down the right sideline he goes. And he sprints and strides. Look at him, strides into the end zone.
You do that well.
What's that?
Be on that Empire High School highlights.
No.
They're going to try for 2, and they have to go into the end zone from 17 yards away, and there's the pass, and it is going to be picked off. It's intercepted in the end zone.
It's an incomplete pass.
By Rob Gagliardi. I believe that goes down as an interception, doesn't it, in these stats?
All right, I'll put it in there then.
9:25 to go in the game, so they're down 10 points now, 38-28. The good news for Kenmore East is there's still 9:28 to go. Actually, 9:25 to go in this ball game.
Well, that drive covered 78 yards.
Well, what about, you look at all that scoring, what about if we throw out the last seconds of that first half? Then what?
Ken East has the lead.
Or if Ken East does what a
Wait a
lot
minute,
of football
wait a minute.
coaches
It's
like to
time.
do, sit on the football and run that clock out,
Yeah.
run the ball instead of pass when they had like a minute and a half
Well,
to go.
their defense has to stop Kenmore West at least one time. I mean, they've allowed.
Can they do it? Well, first let's get through the kickoff because the kickoffs have been killing them.
They haven't had a defensive stand. in a while here.
What's the odds on them? Is Joe Malecki and
In fact,
Scott Wilcox going to tee it up? Can they get him inside the 25-yard line one
I don't
time?
think so. But I got to tell you this: I think that the problem with Ken East is that they have not been able to stop Kenmore West's offense in the second half. 2 drive starts, 2 touchdowns.
Howell takes it, he returns it upfield, and another good kickoff return. He's breaking tackles, and he's out to the 35-yard line. It's just unbelievable. Their kickoff return team has given them excellent field position, and Howell's bobbled that kickoff back in his own 15-yard line.
Look at this return again. Watch the face stiff arm there, then a little bit of a face mask grab there, and then finally the tackle right down in front of our camera location, handled very well by Ned Niedermeyer. Well, if Ken East is going to win this game, they have to stop him here.
So from the 35-yard line, Kenmore West. And they have their running quarterback in Dana, who's played most of the game at quarterback. A handoff, and they are not stopping him.
They are.
At all. McGavero for almost 9 yards.
You see the difficulty of arm tackles there. They're just trying to get their arms around them, and the burst and the strength of the running backs are going right through those arm tackles. You got to get a shoulder in it around the legs or something to knock them off their feet. Look at that, 8 yards for McGavero.
They spotted back, so it's an 8-yard gain.
McGavero's near 100 yards as well. 96 yards.
Ton of rushing yardage in this game.
Huge amount of yards.
Outside shot of having 3 ball carriers gain 100 yards on the ground for Kenmore West. And here is Dana. He sneaks, gets the first down. Quarterback keeper over the 45 to the 46-yard line.
Well, although
that will milk the clock a little bit with 8:20.
While there's a lot of time on the clock, the Ken East team just has to get down low and wrap up around the legs. They cannot continue to try and tackle up high.
But the big factor here, besides the time, is the 10-point differential. It's more than a touchdown and a 2-point conversion, so it takes 2 scores.
It's like one of those old Bills-Dolphins games. Nobody can play defense.
I have fond memories of the old Bills games at the Rock Pile.
I never was there.
From the 46-yard line, a handoff to McGavero, and McGavero is over midfield to the 49-yard line.
Yep, about 3 yards there from McGavero, so he's up to 99 unofficially and 13 carries.
You know, just trivia for our young fans out there, when the New York Jets won the Super Bowl years and years ago with Joe Namath, 1969, becoming the first AFL at that time, American Football League team to win the Super Bowl. The Bills beat them that year.
I was there for that one.
There you go. Now what? 2nd down and 5. That's why I baited them, folks, at the 49-yard line.
I actually was there for that. I remember that.
And Dana will keep it and pick up a yard.
1 yard.
He had like 5 interceptions.
Well, I was there for all of those interceptions. I was so young, though, that I had to be explained, what the game was all about.
And now you are doing the explaining to your own family.
I think it was about 6. About a yard pickup there for Craig Dana.
Well, there's 7 minutes to go,
yards.
so now they have to stop him on 3rd down. And hope that they don't go for it on 4th down.
I wouldn't go for it. Would you go for it? No way.
I don't know. The way they're running the football depends on how many yards they would need. Let's see what happens on this 3rd and 6 with 6:45 remaining from the 49-yard line of Ken East. It's Ken West 38, Ken East 28. A running play, and they're going to pick up the first down with Root.
That's a tough cookie there, Chuck Root. 79 yards now for him. And if you need yards, give the ball to Chuck Root or Kevin McGavero, because they are getting the job done. You'll very rarely, ever, in fact, rarely in college, any type of football action, see 3 players get close to 100 yards in a game.
That's amazing.
It's remarkable.
We have to credit their offensive line.
Well, have you mentioned their names about 20 times? Because
Mark
they're doing the job.
Chris Kelly on the left side, Greg Stark, the center, Jacob Bardek, the right guard, Joe Malecki, the right tackle, Kopodowski, the tight end, and Nevorowski's been in there at the guard spot also, and Shotwell from the other tight end spot when he lines up as the tight end, and that is Dana on a quarterback keeper picking up nearly 4 yards. The thing that really impresses me about Dana is that he never seems to be thrown for a loss.
No.
Whenever he runs, it's always plus 3-4 yards minimum.
He's a good heady player. You see the wide receiver / quarterback, and he's played a lot more quarterback than wide receiver in this game.
But we have seen Joe Sardina in there at quarterback for a number of plays.
Well, he's been in for a few, as you said. He's attempted 6 passes, completed 3, and suffered 1 interception.
And Dana, ball loose, and let's see if Ken Maurice came out with it.
Ken West has it, and it's Craig Dana.
It looked like Dana got back on it, and I thought for a moment one of the East players might be able to pull it back away from him.
Well, the ball was laying there, tantalizing, tempting for the Ken East Bulldogs team. But Craig Dana following the play here, doesn't get the handoff quite right. The ball comes free. In fact, he was going to pull it back out again, and he's wrestling with his line.
Now they're
running
fighting
mate.
for the ball.
Oh, unbelievable.
Root
But he dives
wanted
back
it.
on it.
Was that Root?
I couldn't tell the number. It happened so quickly.
3rd down and 7. And the number of 3rd down plays that they've been able to convert is a high percentage. Kenmore West has consistently been able to convert these 3rd down plays for 1st downs. They haven't stopped the running game. And look at this. Dana's going to pass. He throws.
Uh-oh.
And it's incomplete. Dana sort of shot-putted that ball out there. That didn't look like a forward
And
pass.
he took a pretty good pop right along the bench. And his coach is working on his left leg there.
Right leg.
Or right leg, excuse me, as he was hit pretty hard. Here he comes to the near sidelines, and he's going to launch the pass and be carried right into his coach's lap.
Ouch.
And he may have twisted his ankle there, and they're working on it right now.
And the punter comes in there, Tony Boncourt. Boncourt, a high, short, but effective kick, it looks like.
Nobody knows where the ball is.
Hits at the 24 and bounces down near the 21-yard line.
Yeah, have you mentioned their names about 20 times? Because
Mark
they're doing the
McIndoe,
job.
Chris Kelly on the left side, Greg Stark, the center, Jacob Bardak, the right guard, Joe Malecki, the right tackle, Kopodowski, the tight end, and Nevorowski's been in there at the guard spot also, and Shotwell from the other tight end spot when he lines up as the tight end, and that is Dana on a quarterback keeper picking up nearly 4 yards. The thing that really impresses me about Dana is that he never seems to be thrown for a loss.
No,
Whenever he runs, it's always plus 3-4 yards minimum.
he's a good heady player. You see the wide receiver / quarterback, and he's played a lot more quarterback than wide receiver in this game. Done a
But we
good
have
job.
seen Joe Sardina in there at quarterback for a number of plays.
Well, he's been in for a few, as you said. He's attempted 6 passes, completed 3, and suffered 1 interception. Uh-oh.
And Dana fumble, ball loose, and let's see if Ken Maurice came out with it.
Ken West has it, and it's Craig Dana.
It looked
Loss
like
of a
Dana
yard.
got back on it, and I thought for a moment one of the East players might be able to pull it back away from him.
Well, the ball was laying there, tantalizing, tempting for the Ken East Bulldogs team. But Craig Dana following the play here, doesn't get the handoff quite right. The ball comes free. In fact, he was going to pull it back out again, and he's wrestling with his line.
Now they're
running
fighting
mate.
for the ball.
Oh, unbelievable.
Root
But he
wanted
dives back on it.
Was that Root?
I couldn't tell the number. It happened so quickly.
3rd down and 7, and the number of 3rd down plays that they've been able to convert is a high percentage. Kenmore West has consistently been able to convert these 3rd down plays for 1st downs. They haven't stopped the running game. And look at this. Dana's going to pass. He throws.
Uh-oh.
And it's incomplete. Dana sort of shot-putted that ball out there. That didn't look like a forward
And
pass.
he took a pretty good pop right along the bench. And his coach is working on his left leg there.
Right leg.
Or right leg, excuse me, as he was hit pretty hard. Here he comes to the near sidelines, and he's going to launch the pass and be carried right into his coach's lap.
Ouch.
And he may have twisted his ankle there, and they're working on it right now.
And the punter comes in there, Tony Boncourt. Boncourt, a high, short, but effective kick, it looks like.
Nobody knows where the ball is.
Hits at the 24 and bounces down near the 21-yard line. So a short punt of 17 yards by Tony Boncourt, but in that situation for Boncourt, as long as there's no big return. Dana comes back in. He's a tough cookie. 4:38 remaining. And speaking about cookies, how about at that TNT game at halftime? Carolyn Brown, we have to thank her. I'm not sure if she's from North Tonawanda or Tonawanda, but she puts that cookies out every year at halftime for those folks, that TNT game.
You hit that so hard, it's unbelievable. In fact, the crumbs were flying. It was like dust flying. You were eating them so fast.
From the 21-yard line,
I was shocked.
Curcio, the quarterback, has to take him almost the length of the field. And a pass over the middle, incomplete. Price went inside. He thought Price might stay outside. I'm not sure if that was intended for Price or Wilcox. I thought he was looking at Price, and then Price cut it inside. Curcio, Justin Curcio. Pretty good game for Curcio. That critical interception at the end of the half killed him.
Yes, it did. And since that time, he's completed 5 passes in 8 attempts and had the one pass on the 2-point conversion intercepted in the end zone.
Boy, they are going to be kicking themselves all the way back to Kenmore East High School if they lose this game. It was there to win for the Bulldogs. It's the two turnovers at the end of the first half completely turned the game around.
Curcio's got room to run if he wants to run it.
He's going to pass, and it's caught. Nice catch. Coming in for the left flat there by Campus. No, that's Idzik. David Idzik, the tight end. You mentioned he's a big target.
Looks like he's got about 7 yards on the reception. And let's see what they spotted.
Now they're working against the clock. 3:50 to go now on time running. And remember, they're down 10 points, so they need 2 scores.
Look at the replay, rolling, thinking about running, and he just lays it out there for Idzik. Here's a running play for Bing, the big, tough running back.
Bing picks up the necessary yardage for the first down as he carries the ball over the 35 near the 38-yard line, and a quick timeout called by Kenmore East. 3:33 remaining in this ball game. 56 points scored in the game, 38-28 Kenmore West.
Big Bill Bing, 89 yards, 16 carries in this game. A senior. He has 2 touchdowns. Well, Adelphia Cable Sports and Red Ribbon Week takes place here in Kenmore October 23rd through the 31st, and Red Ribbon Night is Wednesday, October 27th at 6:30 p.m. You want to be there if you're a Kenmore fan and a Kenmore person here. Kenmore Middle School will be the place, and it's all to work on the battle against drugs and drug usage here in this country.
Drugs and alcohol usage. A lot of times people focus in just on the drugs, and alcohol is a big problem in the country.
It's a problem, no doubt about it. The sooner people get together and try and solve the problem, the more effective and quicker the positive results will be.
2 very, very deserving playoff teams apparently not going to make it this year because of the forfeit situation. Something that maybe, there, let's take a look at the band here. Oh, there's our friend.
Hey, how about that? Band playing on. That's the Ken East band, and they are loose. They're hoping to inspire their team.
On a roll right, Curcio gonna pass, looking, throws, and he short hops his intended receiver, Campus.
I don't know how he would have found anybody open in that play there. I mean, there's got to be 7 or 8 blue jerseys surrounding the 3 wide receivers.
It was John Hathaway, the band leader there, who's worked some of the Eden parades. Let's take a look at this replay.
Yep, thrown into a crowd and not really a good opportunity for an effective pass completion.
Frank, we're looking at 2 teams, Kenmore West, that would have finished on the field 5-2-1, and Niagara Wheatfield that would have finished on the field at 7-1. Not going to do it. Not going to make the playoffs because of those forfeitures.
Not going to do it.
Not going to happen. Crucio rolling right, in trouble, and he's going to be hauled down by Jeff Butler, a substitute tackle in there for Kenmore West. Butler comes up with a big play.
10-yard loss on the sack.
The Butler did it.
He got him, got a hold of the jersey, and Curcio has some equipment work to be done.
It's got to be the Butler family right below us.
Check out who
want the
yelled
replay. Make sure it's on. And we did have that on replay, so they can tape that at home at the Butler household.
High fives all around the living room tonight.
2:50 rather remaining in the football game. But they've pulled out some of these Houdini 3rd down and 20 plays before. Curcio throws, batted down, almost intercepted by Derek Cameron, who's had a pretty good ball game. And Frank Stewart, and of course our director, Dave D, will be diligently thinking about the player of the game. And it will not be easy tonight in this ball game because there's been so many outstanding players. Curcio will be looking at 4th and 20 in the ball game.
Well, the ball tapped up and deflected right there by a lineman on the short rollout to the right side. And no way that pass was going to be completed. Well, you're in a 4th down and long situation. And Ken East has to use a timeout. They want to settle everybody down and try and get the best play possible that they can out of this.
Kenmore East burns their 2nd timeout. Cameron was the linebacker that knocked that down. There is head coach Jerry Tutwiler, his 13th year varsity head coach at Kenmore West, his 25th overall. So he's been around for a quarter of a century coaching high school football. Quarter of a century. That is a lot of years for Coach Jerry Tutwiler. Did an outstanding job. Of course, we didn't have the opportunity, as you did at home, to hear that interview about some of the things some of the irate parents had to say about the forfeiture situation, but that's something that maybe the Section 6 will have to address in the offseason, is the clerical errors that force teams to possibly lose football games.
Right,
It's one thing when you use an ineligible player that maybe is too old.
Well, yeah, I'd say the downside is that everyone is obligated to maintain that clerical correctness, and those that do don't pay the penalty. Those that don't pay the penalty. Everybody's got the same rules.
There's always a chance for human error there, keeping those grade scores, computer banks, etc. Pass out there. Did he intercept it? Yes. It's intercepted. That ball picked up by Rob Gagliardi. As Guercio had to throw it up for grabs, and Gagliardi came up with the interception, and it's going to be a tough finish to the career for senior Justin Guercio.
Unfortunately so. He's waiting under some pressure. He's just thinking about getting rid of the ball, and the cornerback read his eyes. The receiver trying to get away, turned it upfield. Wilcox, and there's just no way the ball was going to be completed.
Now, this being our final regular season broadcast.
Yes, sir. Look at the replay and the interception made right at the turf. Good recovery and a good reception before it hit the ground.
You can check your listings for what games we'll have on next weekend. We expect to have both a Friday night and a Saturday afternoon coverage, and there is Root. Let's take a look at this replay, and our crew has done an excellent job all year. Let's see if this ball was indeed intercepted.
Ball is spotted at 39, pick up of 5, second down.
And that is marginal. It looked like he might have been able to get his hands under there.
Well, just think about it. On a fourth down play, if he knocks it down or doesn't even catch it, they move the ball well upfield. So we just did a little bit of work.
They actually lost yardage.
He did.
It looked from that angle like he did get his hands underneath it. Dana on the handoff to Root going for the first down.
Might have it.
And we would like to say under, and there's Gagliardi who came up with the interception with 1:20 to go, and we'd like to thank our entire crew who worked the entire football season, a lot of long hours for you, and of course you got a chance to look at some stills of the players and their facial shots at home, the heights and weights, and that was all the hard work of our crew, especially our director David D, who put a lot of time and effort into these games. Rick Carneth, Gary Black, the executive producers, the rest of our entire crew, our cameramen, worked in some pretty tough conditions. Here is Root looking for the 100-yard mark, and Root finally goes down near the 23-yard line. That might put him over the 100-yard mark.
It does.
It does. We had 3 rushers with 100 yards for Kenmore West. Wow. And Root, 100 yards, a magic number by virtue of the magic pen. 6 foot, 190-pound senior.
The big eraser comes in and wipes one away, so we'll give all 3 running backs 100 yards in this game or better. And Root earns it there. That's a tough run for Chuck Root.
101 yards.
Yeah,
Gained
maybe.
another one on 16 carries. And stopped near the line of scrimmage. The running back, number 21 in, Dan Horan.
Game's going to run out of time here.
12 seconds to go. Well, I'll tell you, it's just a shame because, folks, the last 2 plays of the first half cost Kenmore East the game. The fumble that was recovered turned into a field goal. The interception that was run back for a touchdown. Frank, the ball game's over. You throw out those 2 plays, it's an even ball game.
No doubt about it. A hard-fought contest. You get rid of the turnovers. 4 for Kenmore East, just 1 for Kenmore West, and the game would have been a dead-even game.
Well, the final score, as Kenmore West, believe it or not, they've won 9 in a row from Kenmore East. They lead the series 18-14 and 2 ties, and they win it by 10. The final score, Kenmore West 38 and Kenmore East 28. Scoring here at Crosby Field as Kenmore West, the Blue Devils, defeat the Kenmore East Bulldogs for the 9th consecutive year, but this time 38-28. One of the players most responsible for it was our player of the game. And now down to Frank Stewart.
And our congratulations to Craig Dana. You'll remember in our pregame show we talked about the balanced offensive attack that the Kenmore West Blue Devils will put out onto the football field, and it proved true today as Craig Dana gets our player of the game with 19 carries for 123 yards. And for a while there, things weren't going your way, Craig, but you seem to make some adjustments.
Yeah, well, we came out in our wishbone, and they kind of stopped that, so we decided to spread them out, and then we started running our veer play, and they couldn't stop the veer play, and we just spread them out.
Well, they moved the ball effectively against you as well, and it seemed for a while like things were going their way.
Yeah, they were running the ball hard. They got 2 good backs, and our backers were kind of overplaying it, and everybody was running, and they were cutting back, and they were getting good cutbacks, so we just had to calm down and step it up.
Okay, and you stepped it up for sure. Well, let's go back to the first drive of the game, in which the second play from scrimmage after a 4-yard pickup by your teammate. You take it around the left side. Can you describe it?
Yeah, well, it's like an option counter, and I fake the give, and I turn around, and I run the other way, and our right guard, Jacob Bartek, he kicks out the end, and there's just a huge hole. Their backs were flying over to the give fake, and I just turned it around and turned it on.
Okay, turned it all the way to the end zone, a 60-yard scoring run, and that really set the tone for Kenmore West. They were able to move the ball. Kenmore East came back and started to balance things up. They took a lead, and then late in the second quarter, you guys just seemed to come up with the right plays at the right time. The interception was a big, big play.
Yeah, that was a big play. We thought they were just going to throw it out, and they threw a screen, and Jason Kropolowski, you read it, sniffed it out, and took it in. That was huge momentum for us.
Okay, now this being your last game and no playoffs available to you, we talked about that a little bit, by the way, and maybe we were a little misinformed. Sweet Home had the better chance of getting in by the virtue of their victory over Niagara Wheatfield, so Kenmore West chances were very slim, and with the forfeits they went away completely. But how about college? You're going to be talking to some people, you said, in the next couple of weeks, huh?
Yeah, I hope to talk to some coaches and go on to play. I still want to play. I want to coach and play. I want to stay in football all my life.
Okay, great. Congratulations on a great game and a great career here at Kenmore West. Okay, our player of the game, Craig Dana, will be back with the final stats and our wrap-up in just a moment.
Are in a high-scoring game, 38-28, Frank. Kenmore West defeats Kenmore East. The 2 critical